All aboard the animation station, taking a journey through the Pixar cinematic universe. Our next film is Pixar's 10th feature film, Up, from 2009. Now, here's the guy who always has the spirit of adventure and the spirit of podcasting, the Brazilian dragon himself, Felipe Shimon. And as always, I am joined by someone who already has his iconic King Wilderness Explorer patch, the wonderful AJ Norris. AJ, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great, Felipe. I'm super excited to be here to talk to you about this movie Up. I'm a call a spade a spade. I was not paying close enough attention to our calendar because for days I was like, I so don't want to watch Cars 2. I'm so not ready to watch Cars 2. And then I was like, wait, I'm watching Up. That's so exciting.
Yes, it was like a little surprise for you. It was
It
like,
was pleasant.
yeah. Well, then when we get to actual Cars 2,
Mm.
AJ's, let's just pretend that you're seeing Up again until we press play. But
Understood,
AJ, how are
understood.
you doing on this fine Sunday morning,
I'm
afternoon?
doing I'm doing very swell, Felipe. Honestly, I'm super excited about what we've been doing, what's coming up. I think life is looking good. That's my humble opinion.
We're having a hoot and a half over here on the Animation Station
I'm having a
podcast.
good time.
So
If
am
y'all
I,
ain't
and
having a
that's
good
all that
time,
matters.
get on our boat
Yes, we're
or get on
having
our
a
train.
blast here. And while you're there, telling your friends to tell a friend, go like and subscribe on your favorite podcast app of choice. Give us 5 stars rating and reviews. Like us on YouTube, all the jazz. And we'll talk more about that at the end. But like, we're having a blast over here. This is our 10th podcast in
Woo!
this series, AJ. Actually, technically, it's our 11th.
Oh yeah,
Because
we
of our
did a preview.
preview. And we also did the bonus Toy Story recap because I never did the Toy Story 5 one. We'll just get there when we get there.
We'll get there eventually.
I was like, who do I want to talk about this movie with? And nobody wanted to talk to me about it. And I was like, I'm not doing a solo pod about this movie. This needs to be discussed, not solo yapped. But
Understood, understood.
yes, but I
But you
cannot
got
wait.
me whenever I finally watch it.
Yes, we will have a great time kikiing about that film. But we're talking about Up today. AJ, what's your origin story with Up? Do you remember it as a kid?
So here's my thing. I think Up is one of my not lesser familiar movies. Like I think I only watched it a handful of times. Like I remember Up, I remember the essential characters. I first watched it in a 4-H club meeting. Um,
4-H Club. Like, is this Boy Scouts?
but no. Like here's my issue. I don't know how to explain 4-H, but
What
it
is 4-H
happened.
Club? Do you go like foraging around for like? That sounds like something Remy the Rat does.
4-H club? No, no, no. It's like
4-H. I thought you said forage.
no 4-H, the letter H.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, yes,
I
yes,
thought you
yes,
said
yes.
forage. Like I'm gonna be foraging for food.
Like sort of, kind of. Like they were like an environmental thing group.
Like Nature's
Yeah,
Classroom sort of vibes.
I don't know what Nature Classroom is.
Okay, I'm assuming they're the same thing, and we'll just let our audience members tell us if we're incorrect or not. But 4-H Club is how you get familiar with Up.
Yes. So
Okay.
so that was the first time I watched it. Because about the environment and agriculture and stuff like that. Did we also watch Wally? Maybe not. But I remember watching it a couple times when it was on TV, but it was never a movie I like actively seeked out. But I remembered like bits of it. Like I think the like the squirrel, I think that became like part of the lexicon of pop culture.
hmm Yeah, I feel like Up is kind of like Ratatouille in a sense that there's like random references in pop culture throughout, like with the
Mhm.
balloons taking something.
Yeah.
I got in a deep rabbit hole on Wikipedia last night reading about Larry's lawn chair, which is this guy in the 80s who like did his Carl Fredrickson. He like tied his balloons to a lawn chair and went up to the sky,
Mm.
and he did not get injured. So yeah, this is like something that I feel like people talk about, like tying balloons up and just like flying off into the sky.
Mhm.
But I remember we watched this movie in theaters, me and my family, and I don't think I'd seen it since, but I played the Up video game growing up a little bit. And like there's like a lot of core memories I have of this film because this is around the time I got into the Disney Channel. I remember like the Doug commercials all the time
Mhm.
with like Squirrel and like so I've seen that scene a ton. And like Kevin's a girl, like there's a couple quotes
Mhm.
that like stood out. And I'm excited to like dig into this movie from an adult perspective. Well, checking on the cry counter because I did cry. Second movie we've cried at so far this rewatch. How about you? Any tears?
No tears. I did get whelmed, but I did not tear.
Whelmed. uh, Yeah, but no, so I'm excited to dig into this. I think there's a lot of great themes in this film. And
Mhm.
there's also like we have to talk about it, the opening 10 minutes, which is has its own Wikipedia page. A lot of people will say that this movie isn't that good, but the first 10 minutes is what like people remember. And I'm gonna push back a little bit. I think the first 10 minutes are possibly the best 10 minutes of the film. Um, but I am I still here?
Yes, you're still here.
Cool. My thing froze for a second.
Oh, you're
Apologies
good.
about
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But
you're
yeah, I
good.
think the first 10 minutes of the film are like the 10 strongest minutes of the film, probably. But there's like a lot of good stuff in here besides that. I think the movie like soars, pun intended, in
Hmm.
different moments. I think like the crux of the film being like about grief and how you can reclaim your life after a set of circumstances that you're like processing and sad through. I really like that stuff, and like I really enjoyed this rewatch. This is an easy breezy film to watch. Like I did it in two sittings, and the only reason I didn't do it all in one sitting is because I was
Hmm.
getting sleepy. But like it's very like also very A to B, B to C, C to D. Like there's no like real
Hmm.
like twists and turns. Like it's very like structured. Like you can like
Hmm.
kind of just like recap it in like it's very natural progression of events versus I feel like a lot of the other Pixar movies have like a lot more scenes, like
Hmm.
individual scenes and set pieces versus this is like, no, this is what Carl does here, and then scene two, this, scene three, this. Like it's not super complicated for a film.
I think so. I think this is a very straightforward film. I think, like you said, B A B B B C. Not a lot of cross cutting. Like it's a straightforward linear story
There's
that
only a
is
couple of
easy to digest.
characters.
Easy to digest, easy
Yeah.
to watch. Like it's a very simple, easy film, and I think that's all it had to be.
Hmm.
Um, and I agree with you. I think the first 10 minutes was like some of the strongest 10 minutes of the movie. Honestly, one of the strongest 10 minutes of the Pixar universe so far. Like, like when I tell you that that scene gets you through the entire feels, like highs and lows, and
Hmm.
like it was a really like you understand why people talk highly about that section
Hmm.
when they talk about Pixar. Um, can I talk about a negative about Up real quick?
Yeah. Speak your truth.
I think there were supposed to be more stunning visuals than there actually was in this movie. And like, especially when they finally got the Paradise Files, I was like, oh, that's it. And I think it sucks because I just watched Wall-E, and also I think about Finding Nemo, like even Radiator, not Radiator Springs, but that hill scene. I thought
Yeah.
that was more visually stunning than what we got ultimately got. I was like,
Okay. That said, I think we get one of the most gorgeous shots of any Pixar film so far. And you know what? We dog on Bug's Life all the time, but there's one scene in Bug's Life that stands out for me. It's when Hopper and the grasshoppers are flying back to the ant colony, and it's like that sunrise shot, and we get the
mm-hmm,
incredible music. And I felt like we got like the best sunrise shot since that film. When Carl yells at Doug and Russell and starts walking the house, and we get like that hill crest. Like I think
yeah,
that's like a visual for this film that's gonna stick with me that I didn't remember, and I feel like that's definitely something that's gonna stand with me as we move forward. But you do make good points. I feel like Paradise Falls, like it looks beautiful at times, but it's also very like
mhm,
we don't see the scope of the environment as
yeah,
much as we do with like some of these other Pixar films that you mentioned. Like even like something like The Incredibles, I feel like we understand that like jungle environment a lot better
mm-hmm.
than we do this one. It's also like a very like things happen very quickly. Like we get to Paradise Falls after one rainstorm at night. I'm like, how the hell do you fly to South America like this? Like that, I've been on flights to South America. They take 9 hours minimum.
But have
Um,
you ever been to South America in a house?
no, I've never been in a house. I mean, I've been in houses in South America, if that's what you're
Maybe
asking.
balloons just travel faster than airplanes.
Maybe they do, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so this rainstorm and they zoom all the way to like Venezuela. Like, well, also like even if they're like at the southernmost point of the United States, it's still gonna take like a while to get there. Like, oh well, maybe it's an overnight trip, I guess. But like in the rain, like that's crazy. That is crazy to
It's
me.
crazy.
But yeah, like there's like not a lot of like visual like there's iconography other than Paradise Falls and the balloons. I feel like this is like movie
Hmm.
like you can put against multiple backdrops. They got a lot of like tepuis, I think is what they're called, which is like the structure, like
Mm.
the Paradise Falls structure. But like it's very like contained. Like there's like
Yes.
only a couple of like environments. There's like the Charles Muntz Balloon Museum stuff. There's the house. And then there's like Paradise Falls itself. We don't
I
really, and
think
then
that
at the
is,
end, the scout thing.
and like I'm not like downplaying like the amount it will take to get from America to South America. That would be a lot. With that being said, it for a movie about adventure, it's not like very
Yeah.
adventurous. It really isn't.
There,
Like, sure, we
yeah,
get to South Carolina, South
yeah.
not
I
South
feel like
Carolina, South
Finding Nemo
America.
was more of an adventure.
Yeah, I think it was a bigger
But again,
adventure.
there's like more scenes. We see more happening in those. But like again, like we'll talk about where
Okay,
up.
okay. Here's the thing, and I think Up is a very comparable movie to Finding Nemo, based on like what it is about a journey to this new place and this like the straight man with this very kooky side character. Like I think
And it's a
they
story
have
about
some
grief.
they have very similar beats, but I think the difference is like Finding Nemo is like a beat, a beat, a beat, a beat. Meanwhile, Up is more like, okay, we're gonna sit at this. Okay, next thing, and we're gonna sit at this,
Yeah.
and which I think slows it down.
I think it's also like Finding Nemo has more comedy and like propulsion and
Mm,
like the jokes. Versus like Up is a funny movie, but it's not as like funny. There's not a lot of side characters, and I think the side characters enhance the Finding Nemo plot. Versus this
mm.
one, it's very like you got like five characters total, and one of them doesn't even speak in Kevin. So, um, yeah.
Kevin.
So, but let's get into this. Actually, before we get into any of this, do we want to talk about the quick D23 panel that's happened this weekend?
Let's talk about
And
D23.
we'll try to keep this breezy. We'll do a more discussion about D23 and the Pixar in an upcoming Patreon podcast that AJ and I are set to do at a certain point. But with D23, we got a couple sequels and we got a couple originals. Where do you want to start? Originals or sequels?
I I don't know what you're about to tell me, so I would trust you to drive.
You're gonna trust me to drive? Oh
I
my
trust you.
God! I'm like Russell. Let's start with the originals because I think you might have more to say about the sequel. So we got Gata, which is gonna be about this cat, and I believe it's like if a cat was like a mafia boss, like Godfather inspired Gato in Italy. And it's gonna be done in like kind of this like newer style of animation that they've been doing with like things like Elemental, heavily inspired by the Spider-Verse franchise.
Mm,
So Mark Ruffalo's attached to this project, which is exciting, and they dropped a new look at it. We also got a new look at this project called Ghost Market, which, according to this article from Cinema Express, um, the video shows a young content creator named Kyle who's recounting some paranormal experiences. So it's called Ghost Market, co-directed by Jesse Andrews and Trevor Jimenez, set to release on 2028. Um, so I don't know, like the concept art looks cool here. It's called Ghost Market, so I'm excited about that. Now, in
hmm.
terms of our sequels, we got Incredibles 3, which is going to be focused on Dash and Violet. Jack Jack's powers are getting even more chaotic. And we see Mr. Incredible, fighting a powerful villain. Frozone and Edna Mode will return, and they get into the details of the villain. And then Edna Mode comes on screen and says, "Excuse me, we are not talking. You're supposed to get people excited. You're not supposed to give away the whole details." And then they had that little visual gag. It's not going to be directed by Brad Bird, who's preoccupied with ray guns. So they're going to tap in Peter Son, who we'll talk about with Up as well,
Hmm.
who was the director of The Good Dinosaur and the director of Elemental.
Okay.
And he's going to be directing Incredibles 3 with Brad Bird returning as Edna Mode. This is also going to be where we get a new look at Coco 2, which we have yet to discuss. Benjamin Bratt will return as Ernesto de la Cruz. And we got a teenage Miguel, so it's going to be aged up, and we got some concept art for that. And then in terms of parks, we're getting some Coco stuff for some of these parks.
Hmm.
And there's also going to be a new Cars stuff happening in Magic Kingdom, I believe, in Florida. And we're also getting Monstropolis looks for the new Monstropolis world that they're building in Hollywood Studios. So they unveiled some stuff over there for that. But that's some D23 Pixar updates. Toy Story 5 also has hit $1 billion worldwide, so that's something also that they shared. But yeah, that's our little Pixar. So we'll have a couple more movies to talk about when we return to season one in a few years.
Okay, okay, okay. And I know you said we were going to talk more about this on in the Patreon podcast, so I'm not going to give all
Yeah.
of my opinions. I will just say with the sequels, I don't think I need to utter them. Um, with the new
What if Jack
films,
Jack's the villain?
you know what? I might need it. I might want to see it.
Yeah, and then we go back to Syndrome, like
Yeah.
yeah, corrupt little baby.
And with the new films,
Do you think?
I don't like when they like make this a time and a place, and maybe it's just because I feel like streaming is a time and place right now, but I feel like I like these like anytime, any place, ever more stories.
Mhm.
And that could be like it feels like we're timing and placing this, which is like, okay, what are the kids like right now? They like streamers, so let's make a movie about a streamer. And Gato is probably like the one I'm most excited that you talk about. Like, I would like the idea of a movie about a cat. Not a fan of Mark Ruffalo, but I think it'll be a fun movie either way.
Wait, why are you not a fan of Mark Ruffalo? What did he do
I
to
don't think
you?
I don't
As an
think I've liked.
actor, as a person,
I don't think I've liked anything he's been in. No, I'm pause. I don't like. I've liked stuff he's been in because he's been in some Marvel stuff I liked. But I think everything I've watched, I've always like, okay, I didn't need him.
well, he's one of my favorite actors, um, because I am very appreciative of the fact that he stands on business and uses his platform that he has to speak
Mm,
about things that are important. And I feel like in this time of a lot of like political unrest, it's important to use your platforms.
mm,
And I appreciate that he's like always standing on business, calling things out that needs to be accounted for, like showing up to these Oscar ceremonies and like wearing pins like with statements on them. So
mm.
that's like I appreciate him as a person. As an
Gotcha.
actor, I'm kind of like, yeah, he's good, he's fine. But like as
Like I've
a
never watched
person, I
him.
love him.
Like he could be a good person, but as an actor, I've never been like, man, you know who really stood out to me in that film? Mark Ruffalo.
That's valid. Especially like in an Avengers film. I think his best like Avengers work was like Thor Ragnarok, possibly.
Yes, and I
Um,
didn't like Thor Ragnarok.
you did not like Thor Ragnarok.
No.
That's unpopular, I feel.
Yes, but like I also think like all the Thor movies have been bad, except for like you can convince me the first one wasn't bad, but like two, three, and four were all bad.
Okay. I disagree slightly, but we can do that for our Marvel season, which is
Another
going to be season
podcast.
32.
Yes.
But yeah, in terms of the Up backstory, let's get back into Up.
Yeah.
In terms of the like origins of this film, it's the 10th Pixar film. The original title was Heliums, and this was developed around 2004. Pete Docter, the director of this film, he had fantasies of escaping from life, and what if he
Mm.
just like flew off in a balloon? Doctor and 11 Pixar artists spent 3 days in Venezuela. I'm like, you only spent 3 days? It's a long trip just for 3 days. Um, I would have been like, we need at least a week, but you know. A big challenge for this film was creating realistic cloth and Kevin's feathers as well. This was the
Mm.
first Pixar film to be made in 3D, and it's the first animated movie to ever premiere at Cannes Film Festival, which is super important, I feel like, in the history of film festivals. It's the second of three movies that were animated in the entire history of filmmaking to be nominated for Best Picture after Beauty and the Beast in 1991,
Ooh,
then Up, and then Toy Story 3, which we'll talk about next. Um,
interesting.
Carl himself was inspired by Lou Grant in Mary Tyler Moore Show and Lou Grant, played by Ed Asner, who was the voice of Carl. They also physically made Carl resemble Spencer Tracy in the film Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Meanwhile, Charles Muntz was inspired by Charles Lindbergh's Spirit of St. Louis, also physically by Percy Fawcett and Howard Hughes and Errol Flynn. Bob Peterson, who was, I believe, the co-director of this film, or he was like heavily involved in the screenwriting as well, but he left to go work on Ratatouille for 3 months. And Tom McCarthy, an actor and writer, stopped in to help develop the story. And one of the biggest inspirations for this film was the Tom McCarthy film for The Station Agent. Tom McCarthy also came up with Russell. Um, they started this film with like images of grumpy old man with smiling balloons, and they really liked the like exploration of like grandparents, and they were like, "Oh, he might not be your traditional kids movie hero, but like kids love their
Mhm.
grandparents, right?" So, um, oh. In terms of early concepts, they like developed the story about how this was a floating city on an alien planet with Muppet-like creatures. They were two brothers trying to inherit the kingdom. They end up falling to Earth. They encounter Kevin, and Kevin helps them understand each other. And then they're like, "This is a little too crazy." Then they were like, "Oh, what if the house lands on a Soviet-era spy ship and it's disguised as a cloud?" And they were like, that's kind of similar to another Pixar story we're developing, which I don't even know if got made, but you know." Um, they also had some other scrap storylines like the Magic Fountain of Youth eggs, which is why Muntz is still alive and Carl is his age-ish, which is like something we need to talk about. Muntz is
Okay.
probably like 30 years older than Carl, right?
Um,
If he's a baby in the theater and this man is like going off on
like that was
adventures,
my question. Like, how old do you think he was when he was watching the film? Like, I would have gave like 7, 8 years old.
yeah, I think he's 7 or 8, but like Muntz probably has to be in his 30s,
Yeah,
right?
I
At
feel
that
like
point, maybe like if you want to push
maybe
it like
early 30s,
early 20s at the earliest,
not
but
early
like
20s,
I feel
but
like he
like
has to be at least in his 30s. But then if like Carl's in his, how old do you think Carl's in the movie? Like 70s, 80s, 90s?
you say that he could just be 60.
Yeah, but true,
But
true.
even then, it's still like
He's
what
a rough 60 though.
you know,
Yeah, I
you
feel like
know,
he's 70s, and then Months might be in his like hundreds.
he must could be in his hundreds.
Like I'm that's like one they're just like, you know what, let's let it slide.
Let's
um
let it slide.
but yeah, so friendships with Frank
Carl's
Thomas,
78 years old.
Carl,
Carl's 78.
according to Google.
Yes.
And then how old is Muntz?
And Mutz is 92.
So he is 14 years older. So if Carl's a baby and he's like 8 years old, this man is like supposedly 22 and he has his own TV show.
Mm,
Must be nice.
must be nice.
So Pete Docter was inspired by his friendships with veteran animators like Frank Thomas, Ollie Johnston, and Joe Grant, especially, and that was the reflected in the relationship to death because they would all pass on before the film. Grant was an inspiration for Ellie, with the emotional bedrock being a key phrase of his. He told Pete Docter that if you don't have an emotional bedrock for your characters, then the wacky adventures that they go on don't hit. They also loved the fact that with Carl, they could just like give him an old man license to do whatever he wants, and be like,
Mm.
"Oh, he's just an old man." And the way he described it is like, "Yeah, this person can go up to a waitress and say, oh, call her honey,' but like you can't do that." And but he can get away with it. And I was like, "Can he?"
I was gonna
Um,
say,
but
maybe
this was
back in 2007,
2009. Yeah.
2009.
The first story had Carl wanting to join Ellie in the sky, kind of like a suicide mission. And that was a little dark. So they were like, no, no. We're going to give him the mission of going to South America, where it's remote enough that he has to be stuck with Russell. There's no child services, and a child will help Carl grow. And if you give him a child, it's kind of like, oh, Carl wasn't expecting to have to deal with a child, and children are crazy and take a lot. To deal with, is kind of what they said. They also originally had created Doug for a different project, and when they did pull him for this project, they started consulting with Dr. Ian Dunbar, who works with dogs. The talking collars were given because Doug and Kevin were originally the only companions. Russell wasn't even in the story. So Carl could talk to someone in the film.
I'm glad they had a Russell.
Yeah. The alpha voice was derived from like imagining what a broken record player in high pitches would sound like.
Mm.
They auditioned 400 nationwide casting call for Russell. They auditioned over 400 boys. Jordan Nagai, a Japanese American kid, showed up with his brother, who was the one actually auditioning. But Nagai behaved like Russell, and they really liked how he personified what they were looking for, so they cast him instead of his brother, and that's crazy. Like he wasn't even there to audition, but he gets cast in the movie. But then they like encouraged him to act physically as well as vocally. They even lifted him upside down and started tickling him for the scenes where Kevin picks him up.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of positive representation was done by this film for East Asian characters, and they were really excited about having an Asian actor play an Asian role. They also there's a lot of positive like writing around this time about like how this is a great representation for like East Asian characters without stereotypes, and he's portraying an all-American boy, which
Mm.
is like so that anyone can be all-American. The relationship with Russell, we talked about this, shows kids are whirlwinds nobody's prepared for. This is like a key story in terms of like resurrection, like how you can regain your purpose for life despite going through something difficult. A lot of random inspirations. The Muppets, an inspiration for this film. Hayao Miyazaki movies, Dumbo, Peter Pan, The Wizard of Oz, Fitzcarraldo, The Mission from 1995. Charles Muntz was a combo of Howard Hughes and Errol Flynn. Muntz also had to die as a representation of Carl's old self, and in the DVD bonus features, they have the different alternate endings for Muntz, where they talk about it. The budget for this movie was $175 million, and then it would end up making $293 million in the US and Canada, $442 million in other countries, for a total of $735 million. This is the second Disney movie with a Tepui after Dinosaur, which we'll talk about in season three. There was a 2004 vacation to Venezuela for 3 days. We talked about this. They were inspired by the Himalayan Monal for Kevin. Peter Son, who's a Pixar director, going to do Incredibles 3, they made Russell based on him. Like they modeled Russell after him. And then Carl is squarish to symbolize the containment issues within his house. Meanwhile, Russell is rounded like a balloon. The human designs are influenced by the cartoons by cartoonists Al Hirschfeld, Hank Ketchum, and George Booth. They had to simulate realistic cloth, and that was harder than creating the 10,000 plus balloons for this film. They studied grandparents, parents, and get this, AJ, they watched the Senior Olympics for the inspiration here. We also have Carl from not being able to raise his arms high enough to becoming an action hero by the end of the movie. And we also got the technical director who calculated that Carl would need 23 million balloons to fly off in the house, and they ended up using 10,297 balloons for the house just flying, and 20,622 balloons for the liftoff sequence. Would you ever fly up in a balloon?
Like a hot air balloon. Like, here's my thing. I think a hot air balloon scares me too much. I think I would do something that Carl did, like fly in a house.
I feel like if Disney were to ever start doing live action remakes of Pixar movies, I feel like Up would be one that's easy to do. You get Harrison Ford as Carl.
I feel like here's my thing. Um, I feel like Up is one of the Pixar movies where I was like, I can easily see a sequel, but we did not get one.
Yeah, and also we don't need one, especially if you're not going to do it with Ed Asner, because
I think
he's
that's fair, but then you also talked about Incredibles 3 and how we're not, so it's clear they don't care who they don't use or do or don't use.
well, yeah, but that's true. But I feel like
At least
recasting
now.
Ed Asner, like he was so good in this role. I
Like,
don't.
because here's my thing, and I get it. Like, I think, especially with, because I feel like, and we're gonna talk about this more, especially with like the story of grief with like Carl losing Ellie. Like, there's a world where like we can see like a teenage Russell, and it's like this
True.
person who
Well, that's what
like,
they're doing with Miguel and Coco. True.
fine. But I like
Or
Russell. I like Russ. I'm be above 50 with you. I like Russell more than I like Miguel.
up to maybe I don't want to put this out there, but like Carl might pass.
That's what I was
Russell
saying. Like
has to
Russell.
learn how to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that would
okay,
be interesting to
okay.
spin,
Pete
especially keeping
Doctor,
with the
just give
theme.
us a writing credit or story credit.
But listen, we can do it.
This is the third Michael Giacchino score, and the emotion was key, especially for the opening sequence, Married Life. Munt's theme, Ellie theme, he described it as like opera, where all these characters have their own theme that come back throughout the film.
Mhm,
This movie soundtrack won Best Original Score at the Oscars. It won the Grammy Award for Best Score Soundtrack Album, Golden Globe for Best Original Score, the BAFTA Award for Best Film Music. This movie was nominated for multiple Oscars and won Best Animated Film and Best Original Score. Premiered at the Cannes Film Festival. It was a hard movie to market, and then someone at Disney was like, "Not every Pixar film has to become a franchise."
fair,
Um,
valid.
Carl looks like ex-Colombian President Julio Cesar Turbay Ayala, so this movie had like was popular in Colombia. And then I have a Pete Doctor quote I want to read, but also like one of the reviews said Salon editor Stephanie Zacharek criticized the love between Carl and Ellie, describing their marriage as resembling a dental adhesive commercial more than a real relationship. And I was like, that is a foul read, dental adhesive commercial.
I don't think we watched the same 10 minutes.
Yeah, me and Stephanie don't agree on this. And then Pete Docter had a quote that I wanted to pull up real quick because I really liked it. Basically, the message of the film is that the real adventure of life is the relationship we have with other people. And it's so easy
Mhm.
to lose sight of the things we have and the people that are around us until they are gone. More often than not, I don't really realize how lucky I was to have known someone until they're either moved on or passed away. So if you kind of wake up a little bit and go, wow, I've got some really cool stuff around me every day, then that's what the movie's about. And I think that's a very relevant quote to read because the movie clearly discusses that, but it's like, especially in this day and age of 2026 where
Mhm.
we're all running around with like chickens with their heads cut off and trying to keep afloat when there's so much going on in the world, taking breath and stillness is something that like I'm really trying to prioritize and just embracing the joy and the peace and like make every moment one to enjoy. And I think that's something very hard for me personally, especially given ADHD and all the
Mhm.
different distractions we have in this world. But like embracing stillness and comfort and happiness throughout is something that's hard when we have so many different things going on in these little noggins of ours.
I, I, I feel that. I feel you.
All right, but yeah, that's my notes in terms of the history. Anything else you want to add, or should we start discussing? the film.
There's a few things I want to add.
Yes.
And
Speak your
first,
truth.
I think you talked about them winning a score. I feel like this is a very recognizable score. Like,
Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do.
I was like, I felt like I was transferred into this movie. Like, I'm not saying other movies don't have, like, I think Incredibles has a recognizable score. Toy Story has a recognizable score.
Your boy
I
Monsters Inc.
Monster Inc. has a recognizable score. So yeah, I think this. Well, I'm basically naming all the movies now. So maybe Pixar's just good with their scores. You know what?
Yeah,
I
no,
could accept
Pixar.
that.
I don't think Pixar has missed score-wise yet.
Um, with that being said, I also think, and you can tell because I think you're the one who said like, uh, Pixar to this point has been like, oh, not formulaic, but been like, okay, what if toys have feelings? What if bugs have feelings? What if fish have feelings? What if cars have feelings? Right? And I feel like this is where we're starting to get into their. And Pixar's been a creative country, not country, creative
I'd move to
studio.
Pixar.
Pixar's a creative studio. It's a very creative studio. But now we're like, okay, what if we take all these balloons and now this house is flying? Which is like an absurd idea. And I think we get like not I won't say absurd ideas, but we start to get like more creative in like what we're doing in Pixar. Like I think Coco's a very creative movie. Onward from what I know is a creative movie. Soul's a creative movie.
Inside
Like I
Out.
think Inside Out is a creative movie. Like we're starting to get into like these like fantastical I not fantastical ideas, but like these out of the box thinking that's
Yeah.
like, oh that's something I haven't thought of, but like I love that we're in this world now.
For me, I think like the one-two punch of Ratatouille and Wall-E was like a shakeup in Pixar. I feel like these
Mm,
three, Ratatouille, Wall-E, and Up, are a little bit, especially Wall-E, like you explore the unconventional type
hmm
of stories and like really like be like you start to get into these like how the hell did you come up with this? Like this
Yeah.
is like such a great film under an absurd premise.
hmm
And I feel like Pixar's really starting to take some swings.
Yes.
Um, and like being bold, like I have this long-standing joke that I've made that like Pixar is A24 for kids movies. But
I see
like
that.
even still, like I don't think Up like it's clearly a kids movie. A Pixar movie is always a kids movie. It's a family film. But like
Mm,
I feel like this is the first movie that is like we're literally just like making a movie. Like this could be for adults and kids. Like there's it's only defined by like genre for kids movies because it is a Pixar film inherently under the Disney umbrella.
hmm
But I feel like this is a very adult movie at the same time.
Because I think you were talking about in the history session, they was talking about how do we market this, and I'm like, if you were going to market this, you have to slap Doug and Russ over everything,
Yeah. And
like
Kevin.
that's it.
But even Kevin, like it's
Even
like
Kevin
duh,
was like,
I mean
ugh.
that's I think why I think the kids are drawn to like Russell and Doug, but like the real root
Mm,
of the story is like Carl and Charles and like the adult storylines and like the
hmm
grief. And like obviously like kids can impact that, but like we'll talk about like the opening montage. Like as a kid, the like miscarriage went completely over my head. Like I did not recognize that's what happened when I first watched this in theaters and only like
This was the first time I caught that.
and yeah, so it's like this is definitely like an adult movie. This is like
hmm
yeah, kids can enjoy it too. And like I think Pixar movies are like a great way to educate children on like heavier themes.
hmm
I think it's like something that you can do with like I think Pixar is the studio with the most empathy in their storytelling.
I can see that. Yeah,
And like that's I think part of the reason why like it's a dream company to work for. Uh but you know, we'll talk about like that throughout. Like I feel like this is like very adult of a movie.
very much
Um
so.
I forgot to make this joke when we were talking about Incredibles 3. Do you think Incredibles 3 is gonna go into like our theory that Mr. and Miss Incredible are
No, Felipe.
swingers?
No,
You knew exactly where that was
I
going.
knew where you were going.
Uh, that was a very horny podcast.
Yes, you
Um,
were.
anyways, up. Um,
Uh,
up and away. Every time I say up, do you remember in Spider-Man when he's like up and away web?
no, I did not
No?
remember
Okay.
that. No.
But yeah, so we are gonna start this off with the old-timey. How do you feel about old-timey stuff? Like the old-timey news broadcasts and television shows like back in the way. Have you ever seen Legend of Korra?
Like I think we talked about I have not.
Okay.
I think we talked about this low key, not low key, but somewhat with The Incredibles,
hmm
with their opening, how it did not really work for us.
hmm
I feel like this worked a lot better.
It did work a lot better, especially because we established months. Even like small details like the dogs and the like that he's a
Mm,
fraud. Like if you're not paying attention, it goes over your head. But like it's also how we get to Ellie, which is the key relationship
Yes.
of the film, and they bond over their love of Charles Muntz, I guess.
Mm.
But like I'm a sucker for an old-timey newsreel. Like that's some of my favorite stuff from Korra. So in Legend of Korra, the previously on is done in this style of like old-timey newsreels because it's like
Mm.
set in the 1920s, 1930s. So it's like that kind of stuff, like that vibe, that aesthetic is like so calming and soothing for me. Like old-timey news and radio. For whatever reason, I don't know why. I don't know why. It just hits for me.
Fair enough,
Um,
fair enough.
but we get our intro to Charles Muntz, Spirit of Adventure, Paradise Falls. Carl's in the movie theater, and he's like, "That's my guy." They even say Jiminy Cricket, and I was like, "Okay, now you can tell it's under Disney." Speaking of, are you a Jimothy guy?
A Jimothy. What's a Jimothy guy?
Jimothy's like that raccoon, I think.
Felipe, I didn't even know there was a Jimothy.
Jimothy, just Google Jimothy images.
How do you spell Jimothy?
Jimothy the raccoon.
Oh, Jimothy the raccoon.
He's an internet sensation.
You can tell I'm not.
I think I like Jimothy's cute and all, but I feel like I'm more of a Punch the Monkey guy or a Mudang girly.
So here's my thing. I wasn't that big a mood dang, but like they did win me over with Punch, but that was because Punch was like being ostracized, and I was like, oh
Yeah, and Punch had a stuffy.
yeah, and I was like, protect that monkey at all costs.
Exactly. Anyways, I don't know. Jiminy Cricket though was referenced. And then so Muntz is humiliated. Everyone's like, he's a fraud, he's fraudulent, he's fabricating. Um, and then he says, Adventure is out there, and Carl's like, yes, it is.
Mm.
And he's walking home with this balloon. It says Spirit of Adventure. And then he's walking by and he hears Ellie, and Ellie is giving this soliloquy inside, and he's like, let me go into this girl's house. Like, where are the parents also? Like, what is happening here? Like, this random child just walks into your house.
Well, this I don't think this was her house.
Oh,
Like it
maybe
was.
she's like in an abandoned house or
That's what I
something.
was thinking
Yeah.
because it was
But
like
then
breaking
this is
down and
their
stuff.
house later, right?
Yes, which
Okay.
was so cute.
They
Which was
fix it
so
up. Yeah.
cute.
Yeah. So then she's like, she's a chatterbox. She's very me coded. She's like yapping and yapping, and she's like, "I like you." And then she's gives him the little grape soda thing, cap. And then they're like going up to the roof, and they're like climbing over it. And she's like, "You go first." And he falls, and he goes to the hospital, gets a broken arm, and then this homegirl like sneaks into his house in the middle of the night,
Yeah,
and it's like just yapping away, and says like, cross your heart that you're gonna do this." And he does, and that is carried through until he gets older.
the crush heart was that he was going to fly her to Paradise
Paradise Falls.
Falls.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. And then they talk about the South America dreams, and it says stuff I'm gonna do, and then
Hmm.
in the scrapbook, and swears to take them in a blimp. And then this is where we get the married life cue, where
Hmm.
we see that they get married and they buy the house and they fix the house up and they start going on picnics and look in the clouds. And then eventually, they work at the zoo, I guess, and he's a balloon
Yeah.
salesman and she's a parrot talker, a bird keeper, I guess. But they're in the South America pavilion at the zoo, and I was like, do all zoos have South America pavilions? I guess, like if they have like animals from South America, but they're
I
yeah.
don't
So
know.
he's the balloon
I've
salesman.
only been to one zoo.
Which one?
The Atlanta Zoo.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I've been to a lot of zoos. When my brother was really little, he loved zoos. So
I lie
we've
to you. Please don't let me lie to you like that. I've been to two zoos.
which the other one?
I do not remember the other one. Oh, it was in Houston.
Houston.
Yes, it
Yeah,
was one in
so I've
Houston.
been to a lot of zoos in my life because my brother used to love zoos. So every time we went on a trip, we'd go to that zoo.
Mm.
Um, But yeah, so then we get to the picnic and they start seeing babies in the clouds. So they start building a nursery. And then
Mm.
we see that they have a miscarriage and Ellie is on the porch. She's sad. And then they find the book again and then they're like Paradise Falls. So they start making a little jar and it's like putting coins in there. And then he gets a flat tire and they have to break the jar. And then something else happens. They break the jar. They have the tree in the middle of the night that falls onto their house during a storm, breaks the jar, and they have to use it. And they continue to age and get older and older. Carl eventually buys tickets to Venezuela, but Ellie gets sick, and then we
Mm.
see the funeral, and this is where we kind of like leave the scene, and it's so sad. And this is like all in the span of a couple minutes. Like the opening sequence is 10 minutes long, but like the married life sequence, I think is like 5 minutes.
Yeah, basically, because the first 5 minutes was Ellie and Carl meeting each other.
Yeah, they're mute cute.
They're cute.
Um, yeah. Uh,
Mm,
it's a very, very powerful sequence. It's like one of the most memorable, I think, if you talk about like Pixar scenes.
mm.
Like I feel like Up is at the top of people's lists.
Like I remember when we watched Finding Nemo, we was like, you know what? Maybe we were overhyping up because Finding Nemo has a really strong opening. No, I'm willing to admit I was wrong. No, it's really Up. Up is like such a good opening, especially because like I think you get the heartbreak. It's a different type of heartbreak. Like you have the heartbreak of what is it? Uh, what's her name? Merle. I'm so sorry.
Coral?
Coral dying and losing all the kids except for Nemo. Like I think that is heartbreaking. That is heartbreaking. But like we just met Coral. Meanwhile, here it's like, no, we get to travel along through Ellie. Like we get invested with her with both like the highs of like, oh, this woman has such a the spirit for adventure, the love of each other, X, Y, and Z. And yet every time like we're like happy and invested, life hits them with something else. Whether it's something as low as like, oh yeah, we got a flat tire to no, I lost my child.
Mhm.
Don't even know if we can have a child. Like, and that's like, it really does take you through the ups and downs of life. And I think we were talking about this in the pre-show about like saving money and then like life hitting you and you having to drop all the money. And it like it's I think that's part of it. It's like it's just so it's such a relatable scene to me.
Mhm.
Like it's like I felt that in my everything that was happening.
So I agree with you. I think pound for pound, the married life sequence is a stronger scene than like it might be like a better scene than the Finding Nemo opening sequence, comma, but I
Mhm.
will say, in terms of like an opening, I think this is slightly anchored because while the Ellie and Carl meet cute is beautiful, I see the first sequence as part of Charles Muntz, and I think like there's like multiple scenes here versus like Coral and Marlin is a self-contained scene. So I feel like this is like multiple scenes to get to the married life, and I think the married life sequence is stronger than the
Like
Coral Marlin scene. But
like
like
we
as an
start when we
opening,
start
I think
the
it's like a little bit more of a fight because of the slower build to that nonverbal sequence.
like by the time that Coral dies, we have I don't even know if we really got into Carl and Ellie yet in
True,
this
yeah.
movie. So I can see your stance with that, where it's
But
like it
like
takes
those
us a
are
minute to get
probably
into it.
the two strongest openings so far, unless AJ wants to give some credit to his little snake friend from Monsters Inc.
No.
Yeah.
No, I will not.
Um, but yeah, so
I'm not gonna
adventures
fight you
out
about
there.
that.
Adventures out
Adventure
there.
is out there.
Out there among the parapets of stone. Sorry, why are we singing Hunchback of Notre Dame on a Pixar podcast?
That's season 4.
That is season three, excuse you.
Oh.
AJ's most looking forward to talking about Dumbo in season three.
No, I am so not. You saw I was so excited to talk about it that I pushed it back a season.
But so this is when we get Carl sitting on the porch. He wakes up in the morning, he like stretching, and then he's like, ah, my back. And I'm like, ugh, relatable. He goes downstairs, he sits on the porch, and we see that they're like in an island of construction.
hmm
And he's like, Ellie, look at what they're doing to this area. And then he's like, oh, there's mail. Let's go check the mail, Ellie. And then it's probably like a couple months at most, like after her passing. I feel like it's like, or like no more than a year, I feel like.
like here's my thing. I'm not certain. I think, and I'm glad we left it vague
Mhm.
because like how long has Carl been trapped in the state?
Yeah.
How and also because like
I mean, grief.
especially death of a loved one in the grieving process, no two people grieve the same way. Like and how long it takes you to grieve, that's your own personal journey, and it should not be of anyone else's to judge. So whether this is like
Yeah.
a couple months, like you said, or like a year, like you said, like I think either way, I think it's like very interesting of how where he's. I think it's a little bit longer because I think the house was there hasn't construction hasn't started yet,
True.
so maybe like a year. I'll lean
Grief
more
is
towards a
also
year.
ever present. Like it's
hmm
something that pops up randomly. Like I don't know if you watched WandaVision, but like, what is grief but love persevering is a great quote that I
hmm
love. And it's also like this could be a couple months, this could be a couple years. You never know. Like
You
he's
never
like
know.
might be in that state for a while. Like grief is hard. Like my grandmother's like have been widows for going on 20 years and a little over 10 years now for and it's just like you grief can hit you randomly at random times and just
Also considering, and I think this is based on the film, like I'm just assuming that this is the closest person Carl has ever had in his life.
oh,
And
absolutely.
like
They've been
especially
besties
with
since
his
they were
spouse.
8. Um,
Well, fair enough. I was like, we'll consider they're married. But like in like you saw they never had any kids. So they were just living this life together. Um oh, pause. I thought the saddest part, well, pause. The saddest part for me was was her losing the child. That
yeah,
was the sad part. But the second saddest part was like he finally bought her tickets to go to South America. They're finally doing this journey, and that's when she becomes sick, and it's like, ah, damn, that sucks. That hurts my heart.
yeah.
And I think um if that like also adds to it, it's like, and you see this with Carl throughout the film, like the lost moments that he was like, we were supposed to have these moments, and
And
now that you're gone, yeah, speak.
and that's something that I really appreciate because it's
Mhm,
like, I mean, I know I've lived through. It's like, when do you make decisions to
mhm,
like start living again, right? And like just like you never know when life could happen, so you want to live life to the maximum, but there's also like sometimes like there's the fear of being reckless and that
mhm,
it's an irresponsible decision. And it's like you see how hard they're saving money, but then like we talked about, like life hits you at random points and you
mhm,
have to like use that money to get a new tire or to fix your house when a tree falls into it or to get a medication or like you get in a car accident. You never know what like
you never
things
know.
happen randomly, but it's also like there should be more liberty to take adventures. Like
Yes.
adventure, like life can happen because if they had just like bit the bullet and gone to Paradise Falls, they would have had that adventure together,
Hmm.
even if it was like not the most financially secure. Like sometimes you just have to like take a bet because like life
Hmm.
isn't all about finances. And
Hmm.
they sure help. They sure make us happy. But like
Hmm.
there's like been studies that the happiest people are the most wealthy because they like have so much freedom to do a lot of these adventures. So, yeah, I feel like there's a little bit of this movie that's kind of like just say yes to adventure and just like take chances. Like as Celine Dion once said, "What do you say to taking chances?" I love singing on a podcast. It's my new favorite thing.
No, and I agree with you. I think that's one of the bigger themes of the story of this movie itself is like it's not about like the ultimate destination. It's about the journey you go along, the people you take away, and the memories you
Yeah,
make.
that
Whether
that
they're big
part,
or small.
the
Yes.
people that you bring with you and the journeys that you take.
Hmm.
Um, Yeah, I was listening to Michelle Obama podcast with her brother yesterday, and she said like some of my favorite people are people I met in my 50s. So you never know when you're gonna start like
Hmm.
meeting like the people that are gonna change your life, and I know Amy Poehler lives by that as well. So it's just like say yes to new people, new adventures always, and
Yes.
like sometimes you got to make responsible choices. Like neither AJ or I will be at RapCon, unfortunately, because we don't have the finances right now, but we
Yeah.
will be on other adventures in the future.
Yes, we will.
And we're excited about that.
Yes.
So just if you are there at our HAPCon, have a blast on our behalf. Um, this is gonna get us to Carl going to the mailbox. It
Hmm.
says, Ellie, there's a Shady Oaks retirement pamphlet here, retirement house or like assisted living facility or something. And he's like, then one of the construction people, this is John Ratzenberg's appearance in the film. He's like, hey, so my boss, he'll give you double what he offered last time. And he's like, you can have my house when I'm dead. And he slams the door. Yeah, I love Ed Asner in this. The late great Ed Asner played
So,
him.
so good. He's so
He's
good.
so good in this role. And like I love a cranky old man energy. Like some of my favorite reality TV characters are like Rudy from Survivor Borneo, problematic
Mm.
views looking the other way. Felicia in Big Brother
Love Felicia.
25, Rennie. Like there's so many good like cranky older house guests who can get away with like saying problematic stuff sometimes. Not problematic stuff, but like saying like more crank ass commentary. Like
Yes.
they're just like so funny because they don't have patience for the bullshit anymore. And Carl is very much like that. Like put Carl in the Big Brother house now. But this is also where we get our. Then they start knocking. He's like getting annoyed. He's like, ugh. And then, hi, my name is Russell, and I'm a wilderness explorer. Can I help you cross the street? And he's like, no. Can I help you cross? Do you need assistance walking across the porch? No. He's like, and then he closes the door on this kid's foot, and he's like, ow. And then he's like, a snipe. So he goes looking for a snipe, and I was like, what the heck is a snipe? I've never heard of this phrase. Do you know what a snipe is, AJ? Did you know what that was?
I thought they made it up for this movie.
Is a snipe a real thing?
I don't think snipe is a real thing. I think they made it up for the movie. Oh, pause. Snipe is a real thing. It is a bird. It
Is it
is.
a bird? Okay, yeah,
It
because I
is
know
a.
he said a bird. And I was like, does it look like Kevin?
No.
No? Okay.
No,
But
no,
he's
no.
like, okay, go look for the sniper. And he's like, I want my senior wilderness explorer status. I need to assist the elderly.
Hmm.
Um, I'm like, so does this kid just like see that there's an old man in this random house in the middle of a construction zone? He's like, I'm gonna go help this old man. Why doesn't he just go like find a different assisted living facility and help the people there?
You know what? I don't know. That's a good question. With that being said, thank God, because Russell's such the heart of this film,
So
and
this is like a suburban area, right? A suburban area of
I
a,
don't
or is
think
this like
so.
San Francisco? Like this, I'm assuming this is like based off San Francisco since that's the closest big city.
Like it feels to me. You could tell me I'm wrong. They're like developing this area to be like whether a recreational or business center, but Carl's like not giving in, but like everyone else did.
Are they gentrifying the area?
100%.
Yeah. Um, so then Carl sends him away to look at the snipe. Um, and then the bulldozer starts backing up and hits his mailbox and he gets pissed. So he goes shuffling over there to protect the mailbox. And then he's like hugging the mailbox and the guy's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I assume he's gonna offer to fix it or whatever. He's like, I'm so sorry, Mr. Fredrickson. And he's like, no, you let go of my Ellie, and he whacks this man on the head with the cane. And I was like, I felt bad for the man, but
No, I
also
did. I did. He told him to let go multiple times. He told him to stop, and he just didn't listen. That's my property. You do what I say for my property.
so you would have also whack him on the head with the tennis
No,
ball
because that's
stick?
illegal.
Yeah. But he's like, let go of my Ellie. And yeah, so he did use his words. And
Yes, he used his
but
words.
yeah, then he like hit him on the head with a walker, and then the construction foreman in the suit, he sees it and he like makes a phone call because they've been trying to get Carl out of there for ages. And now they have something against him. He goes to court, and even the best legal counsel couldn't get him saved from being evicted and having to go to Shady Oaks. Um,
Which I'm not saying anything. I feel like that's not a correct ruling. I don't think you can rule to like, hey, you assaulted someone, so you got to live in a nursing home, not a nursing home, a retirement home. Like that's not how the law works.
well,
Like
it does in this movie.
it does in this movie, and
And
I was like,
then
wait a minute.
the
Well,
officer.
pause. Here's the thing. I genuinely think though. I think I'm not saying the judge was correct because we didn't see no judge, but we saw when she brought him home. She was like, "You don't seem like you're a menace to society to me, but here you go. They're going to be here tomorrow." So I think they maybe put something under or exaggerated what Carl did to like make him seem
Oh
unstable.
yeah, no,
Or
they were like the senile old man is probably
yeah,
like what they went for. Like he can't live by himself. He's a danger to himself, sort of vibes.
yeah.
Um,
Where it's like you can talk to the man. He's very cognitive of what he's doing
yeah,
in his
but you know,
control facilities.
um, he's very sad, and yeah, the officer says you don't seem like a public menace to me, Mr. Fredrickson, but they will be here tomorrow. And I
Yeah.
want to ask you, do you know what the names of these Shady Oaks employees that show up are named?
No, what are they?
George and AJ.
Oh, was they
I
the
don't know
black
who's
one?
who, but they have a little short film that they made out of them about like their day afterwards. But
Listen, listen, they were just doing their job.
yeah, and then so they arrive, and Carl, Bill, in the night before, Carl's like, "What am I supposed to do, Ellie?" And then he gets inspired about the spirit of adventure, the house at Paradise Falls. So he's like, all right, let me just go say goodbye to my house one more time." And then the guy's like, he's probably gonna go to the bathroom again, which so foul.
So rude.
But
Like
then,
very rude.
yeah, but then he goes inside, and then all of a sudden, the roof opens up, and all the balloons fly up, and we go off.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. That they start lifting the house up and Carl's at the porch and he's like, "See you later, suckers," or whatever he says. Um
Okay, pause. Actually, I would like to retract my statement. Maybe Carl was a public menace. Because remember what he said? He said he poured prune juice into the man's gas tank or something like that.
I forgot about that.
Maybe he is a public menace.
Listen, prune juice
You know.
is gonna be referenced throughout the film. They're like, "What smells like prune juice here?" Um but then yeah,
Pause.
so
And then he was like, "Oh, instead of going to the retirement home, I'm just going to fill up a bunch of balloons and fly away."
yeah,
He did. Maybe they were right.
he's like, "So long, suckers." But then it's like he also like does it like does he have a like degree in balloonology? Like how does he know how this is gonna work? How is he gonna fly the house? Like he's just like going on a
Like
whim.
literally just a women of prayer.
Well, so
That's
I told
it.
you about Larry Lawn Chair, and then apparently
Yes.
like he was like charged with like misdemeanors, and like he was like flying into like an federal, he like breaking the federal aviation laws and like going into like
Because I agree. Because Felipe, listen, it looked fun. I was like, there has to be so many laws he's breaking right now because he's being
yeah.
so reckless and endangering so many people's lives. Like, imagine he went left and ran into a building.
I mean, he
Felipe,
almost did multiple times.
like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Also, like, imagine if like the house, all the balloons popped,
Listen, in a thunderstorm, they probably could.
right? But so yeah, he's flying
Like,
off and
like Felipe, one power line is over.
oh, I cannot wait to talk about a different power line in like season 10, a Goofy movie.
Ooh, I am so excited for the Goofy movie, Felipe. Oh, I'm so
When we
excited.
listen to
To
each
each other.
other's eyes. Uh, so
Da-da-na-da-na-da-na-da-da. I'm sorry.
no, you're good. We love that song. But then he starts hearing, he sits down, he's finally at peace in his chair. And then knock knock, and he's like, "The hell is that?" And he goes to open the door, and he's like,
The hell?
but he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I saw the snipe under your house, but it might have been a mouse. So then I got on the porch because this thing started flying. Please let me in." He says, "No." Closes the door on it, and he's like, and then he opens the door. He's like, "All right, come in." And he's like, he shuffles inside. Like if I was Russell, I'd be screaming.
Yeah,
I'd be
100%.
like, "Ah!"
Like he's been so calm for so long.
But also, like, why did he not like just hop off the porch as the thing started flying? Like, I
You
know
know,
why plot wise, but
I think that's fair. I would have also just hopped off. My bigger question is why do you wait so long to knock?
yeah,
Like,
like
hey,
they were like flying.
let me in. I
Yeah.
almost got hit by a building.
Do you think they see Woody and Buzz in the sky?
Ah, I bet you Russell did. He's like, oh, that's cool.
Um, but yeah, Russell says that they can see so many buildings here, and he like feels like he can touch a building, and then Carl has a daydream where he's like holding Russell on this like cloth, and then he drops Russell, and I was like, that's dark for a Pixar film. And then
So dark.
luckily it's a daydream, so then Carl is getting annoyed with Russell talking so much, so he turns his hearing aid off, and then Russell's like, "This is a cumulonimbus cloud. That looks like a cumulonimbus." And then there's like a shake, and he's like, "What are you?" And then he turns the hearing aid back on. He's like, "What are you pittering pattering about?" Um, and then yeah, Russell is like, "There's a rainstorm," and then it's chaos, and then Carl goes and saves the picture of Ellie, but then he like is knocked out for the night.
Hmm. Or as Russell said, he took a nap.
He's like, "Yeah, you took a nap."
So I just start this drive. So I just
Um, but they end up getting South America pretty quickly. Again, I'm like, this is so crazy to me. Pause. How many airplanes do you think saw them?
airplanes,
Yeah,
at least six.
at least six. Yeah, that's
Like,
crazy.
and they all called it in. They was like, "Yo,
There's
there's
a
a house.
house.
There's a house."
There's a house in the sky, side to side. Jump to the left, stick it, glide. Hannah Montana in a house. Um, yeah, so they get to South America pretty quickly. And then the house, like they fall out of the house, and then Carl's like, "No, the house." He grabs the hose, and
He grabs the hose.
he grabs the hose, and then Russell grabs his legs, and then they like are being pulled into the tepui, but they save it, and the house is hanging above them, and Carl's like, "Okay, go climb up there," and Russell starts climbing. He's like, "Are you almost there yet?" He looks up, and Russell's still there.
Felt that in my soul.
Yep. So Russell is like, "What if we just walk there?" And he's like, "If I help you walk there, can I get my assisted elderly badge?" And I was like, "At this point, you should get it regardless."
No, pause. What would he say? Before that, he was like, just take the bus home. I was like, he was like, the
He's like,
bus.
"There's gonna be a lot of transfers." He also like had his GPS that he drops out the window that tells them they're in South America. He's like, "My dad got me this GPS."
But here's my first problem. Not first problem, but one of my first problems. Not my first problem, but I was like, hey, that don't look like a long walk. And then the forest came out of nowhere in a different scene. I was like, where is this? In
Hmm.
this like glazing scene that we just saw? Because it looked like a barren, like 20-minute walk.
Hmm. Yeah, no, it was like, but they also have to go around, so maybe it's like, and they have 3 days of helium in the balloons, is what he says to establish.
Like how many days have those balloons been lit? Like two, like at least 2 or 3 at this point.
Yeah, because he did it overnight, so it's probably like been what, 36 hours maybe?
That's insane.
Yeah, because like
That's
he
what
kept them hidden for a while, and then he's just like, boom. Like, how do you like? Does he keep them inflated? How do they not pick up the house earlier?
those are the sturdiest latex balloons I've ever seen.
Hmm. Um, so. this is when we get a cross cut to some shadowy figure running around, these lights in the dark, like glowing
Ooh,
and chasing after him. We see some dogs.
dogs.
Then we go back to Carl and Russell. And Russell's like, Mr. Fredrickson, I need to go to the bathroom. He's like, I said that 5 minutes ago. And then he's like, do I dig the hole before or after? I think before, right? And he's like, oh. As long as it's not in a pool, though.
You know, definitely not.
And then he starts eating his chocolate. Um,
Gross.
and then he's like, there's Kevin, and Kevin starts biting the chocolate. Yeah, this is when we get introduced to Kevin. Russell's like, can I keep him? And then he's like, no, leave the bird alone. And then he's like saying, Ellie, I'm sorry we're taking so long to get there. And he's like, oh, are you talking to your house? House, can I keep Kevin? And then the house shakes a little and says, she says yes. And then so this is also where we get introduced to Doug because they start
Mhm.
hearing someone talking and then they walk in, it's just like a rock structure. And then Doug is like, I just met you and I love you. And I was like, ah, Doug.
And I hate it because I was like, Felipe, you were on the podcast with me. I had issues with this a couple episodes ago with Mater. I was like, this is too quick to love someone. I was like, yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
That's your master.
Because
Love him.
Russell Stevens like, my apartment doesn't let me have dogs, but I like dogs. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, Doug, like, give me a talking dog and I'm there. Who acts like
Give
a
me
dog but can
Doug any
talk in dog form. He's like, I just met you and I love you.
day.
Um, yeah, honestly, I think Doug worked on me faster than Mater.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
I haven't fallen in love with a character this quickly since Dory.
Like,
Maybe Jack Jack.
fair enough, fair enough.
Mom, you're making faces again.
I just love Doug and Russell both. I love them both,
Yeah.
Felipe.
Yeah. You can meet Doug and Russell when we go to Disneyland together.
Okay.
We'll take group photos. Um, but yeah, so Doug has the collar that lets him speak. And then there's a tracker. He's like a tracker on a mission, and he's like, Bird, you're gonna be my prisoner.
No, no, he keeps asking him, please be my prisoner. Please.
Please,
Please.
please be my prisoner. I have a mission. Can you be my prisoner, please?
Please.
This is where we get introduced to Alpha, Beta, and Gamma, and this is where AJ is going to reveal to everyone he doesn't know who Delroy Lindo is.
I don't know who Delroy Lindo is. I'm sorry.
Yes, and
Should
he's
I
one of
know
the
who that is?
voices. You should, but AJ's also never seen Sinners,
I
which
have
is
not
his
seen
most
Sinners.
recent big project. I think did he win for Best Supporting Actor? No, who won? Oh no, it was Sean Penn. But Delroy
Oh.
Lindo, he's
Pause. I know who Delroy Lindo is. Pause. Okay. Now that I see him, that's on me. I didn't know your name, sir. Sorry.
AJ didn't know ball like that.
That's on me. I know this man.
Yeah, but yeah, he's one of the voices. And they see the tracker, and they're like, Doug has the bird, and then Doug is like, I have the prisoner, and then he's like, they see in the little neck collar that he does have Kevin,
Hmm.
and they like track him, and they see the human also, and so they start chasing after them, and this is also where Doug is like. Carl, you're my master. And he's like, I'm not your master. And then he's like, get away from me, stupid dog. So he throws one of the tennis balls off his walker. Did you ever have tennis balls in your chairs in school?
Yes,
Yeah, that was so you that was a time.
that was the time. They
Um,
never lasted.
nope. Sometimes they were blue.
They were never
You
blue. They were always green.
sometimes they were blue in my school.
Well, your school was nice then.
I don't know about that.
Can I tell you
My
about a
school was
logical thing?
literally a former jail, my middle school.
Oh, okay, then I'll take my words back.
No, but you were gonna say, can I say something about middle school? Or what is
No,
that
it was
what?
about this movie.
Oh yeah, say something about this movie.
So
More
Alpha Beta
relevant.
Gamma was like, hey, what did they say? They said we're sending Doug on this fake mission to
Yeah.
find the bird. But that was their actual mission was to find that bird.
Yeah, it was. They were like
So
side
how was that a
quests.
fake mission?
Well, because they were like, "Oh, you're going separately. Go do your own thing." They're like, I love how they all also have like Greek alphabet names, like
And
Epsilon later, but like Doug is Doug.
Doug, it is Doug. No
He's
one
just
likes
like,
Doug.
they do not like Doug. They're like this fucking guy.
It's a fucking Doug, which I don't know why. How do you not love that dog?
Yeah, well, because he's not serious like that.
Fair enough.
He's like
Fair
the
enough.
class clown. He's like so us. Like we're gonna be goobering in the corner. Um, But yeah, so they rejoin, and then so there's rain at night, and Russell struggles to make the tent, and he's like, I don't like tents. And then he starts talking about how his dad is never home
Mm,
and that he misses his dad. And
mm,
then he's like talking about Phyllis, and he's like, why do you call your mom Phyllis? He's like, Phyllis is not my mom. So we get like
mm.
references to Russell's dad and mom being divorced or separated. And
I like
I
the
gotta
show.
be honest, I don't like Russell's dad.
They did not make it. I don't think we ever met him, but yeah, I agree. They made it feel like his mom died. I'll
Yeah,
be
and
honest
then
with you.
we see her at the end. I was like, wait, what? Yeah,
I was
I
like,
thought his
whoa.
mom, yeah, I thought his mom had died, and I was like, oh, is this like something related to like the themes of grief? And then we see his mom at the end of the movie, and I was like, oh, like,
Okay.
yeah,
I guess.
maybe
Cool,
cut
cool.
storylines.
Like I think we have a better like relatable storyline from later that we did not need this one.
hmm No, that's valid. But yeah,
Well, pause.
so
I guess we needed this one to explain like the ending about
well, yeah,
why
I feel like his mom didn't have to be there at the ending for the
she didn't
scene
have to
to
be there.
have
Yes.
impact where Carl shows up as his guardian.
Yes.
Yeah,
Also, pause.
like
Pause. We're not going to talk about this because I'm not going to remember this in an hour. Why did she just do it? Why did she just pin him?
yeah,
What are we doing?
what is this patriarchal bullshit?
What did she call the cops that her son was missing?
Yeah, like it's also like yeah, I want to talk about this. What? So like what I want to know what the B side of the story is. Like where are the people at home? There's like where is my son? Where is my son? And then they have the little GPS and the dad is like, "Oh, he's in South America?"
South
Comma. What?
America.
Huh? Like I would be and then like it seems like they literally go from Paradise Falls to the ceremony and I
Mhm.
would have been like asking so many questions like, "Who is this old man? Why are you in a blimp? Where were you? Why were you gone for multiple days?" Like
Listen, like honestly, arrest this man. He took my child. He
should we write a
kidnapped my
sketch about
child.
this?
Yes, that'll be so funny.
Yeah. But yeah. So yeah. Carl is finds out that Russell's dad's supposed to be at the ceremony.
Mhm.
And then he says, "Please promise you're gonna protect Kevin. Cross your heart." And he's like, "Was
Oh,
crossing a heart a big thing for you
as a child or in this movie?
as a child?" Like cross your
Not
heart, hope to die, but I never like
really.
did that. I feel like it was more like pinky promises were a thing.
Like my mom said, never swear, which I think I don't really
Too bad.
swear.
Too late. Too late.
Not curse. I mean, like, oh, say you swear on something.
Oh.
Yeah, not to swear on stuff. Which I was like, okay, fair enough. But not
hmm
really crossing hearts.
Yeah. I feel like that maybe is like a boomer thing.
Maybe.
Like I know like the phrase cross your heart, hope to die, or like I swear on things, but like yeah, I never did the physical action of like
No,
cross
never.
your heart for anything. But like pinky promises are sort of like kind of like the Gen Z version, maybe. I
When
don't
you
know.
pinky promise, did you just pinky promise or did you
No,
pinky promise?
oh, I did like the pinky crossing, but like I don't remember like doing the kiss.
Okay.
I don't trust these kindergartners that I was in kindergarten with.
Now I don't.
Yeah,
As a child, it's very impressionable. As a
valid.
child.
Um, Kevin hears the babies, and they're like, "Kevin's a girl." Doug's like, "Kevin, the bird hears her babies. She loves her babies."
Oh,
Um, and then this is when the dogs intercept and they see Kevin. Kevin runs away, but Kevin really hides on the top of the roof. And the dogs are like, "You're gonna follow us. You're our prisoners now." And
no.
this is when Alpha still has the squeaky voice, like, "You're our prisoners, everybody." There's a little Elmo in there. Kevin is on the house and they start walking, and then out comes Charles Muntz. And Carl's like, "That's Charles Muntz! Oh my God, sir, I'm a big fan. My wife and I loved your show, Spirit of Adventure." And he's like, "Oh, come in, come in. You're my guests." And they are excited to have dinner. Doug is put in the cone of shame. I do not like the cone of shame.
Oh, it's so sad.
I'm gonna make you upset with this next comment.
Also, why are you putting the cone of shame when he got closer to catching that bird than y'all ever did?
T,
That's just me.
clock him. I'm gonna make you upset with this next comment.
Oh no.
Doug holding hands, Gina Marie, cone of shame.
Why would you do that?
That's every time I see a cone of shame, it's like I can't believe they put that on a woman, but of all women, put her on that woman.
No, all
She did
women.
need to be shamed.
But
Um,
of all women. If there had to be a woman.
yeah. So they're having dinner, and all the dogs start stealing Russell's food. I'm like, that's so rude. That is so rude. You're our dogs. You've been here. Let the child eat his hot dog.
Like listen, like Carl, they didn't touch whatever Carl had. What I don't know what Carl had. What Carl had, I
It
would have
looked
ate.
like a
It looked
piece
good.
of like fish, like a small little. shrimp. Like, I
It
don't know.
looked good to me.
It
I would
was
have
such a
enjoyed
baby plate though. Like it was giving ratatouille, like French cuisine.
it felt like to me there was going to be multiple servings because they didn't get to stay for dessert.
Yeah,
Uh,
cherries jubilee.
so you just gotta leave some room opening. But like they
Mm.
all that man saw. They only left the bun, Felipe. They even drunk his drunk. Like,
They were so mean to him. Let Russell eat.
let Russell eat. Like that kid has only eaten chocolate these past few days. Let him eat.
Yeah, he has nothing going on inside his tummy. He needs sustenance.
Yes.
Um. So yeah, the dinner scene, and this is where Muntz is like, people called me frauds. People called me all these horrible things, and then Russell's like, that one kind of looks like Kevin, the skeleton, and he's like, Kevin, and Carl's like, shh, be quiet, boy.
How would I say this was the only time that Russell upset me? Like I was like, Russell, you're not listening. Why are you not shutting up?
Russell wasn't paying attention. He wasn't there for the adult conversations. He was just trying to eat his hot dog, fighting the dogs.
He was sitting right there, Felipe. Like, and you can tell that Mutz is low key unhinged. The fact that
Mhm.
he's 98 years old and doing this still,
And he's still like there in the middle, like living in Paradise Falls. Like
like,
again,
like,
he was called fraudulent.
let's not agitate this man more, especially if he's looking for this bird and you have him.
Yeah, exactly. And Carl's like, shh, be quiet, boy. Were you a kind of kid who would like sit at the dinner table with the adults and just like have conversations when you were like 5?
No,
No.
no.
I feel like I was sitting at the adult table all the time. Like my parents would have guests over, my brother would be playing video games, and I
Mm.
would just be sitting there with parents like just talking like amongst them or like hearing their conversations.
Ah, it's not I.
Well, you might have given Kevin away then. Okay.
I don't even know if I was out in the room. Like,
Dang. But yeah, so Russell's like, yeah, Kevin likes chocolate. And Carl's like, shut up.
please stop talking.
And Carl's like, this is like, see, Carl is protecting Kevin because he's trying to get Russell to shut the hell up.
He is.
And then Munt starts talking about like all the different voyagers that he's had visit him over the years. Like there was this one guy who had this, there was this other guy, and my favorite is the one who brought his house to Paradise Falls in balloons. And that story doesn't even have a great ending yet. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's dark and deranged.
Can we talk about how deranged not Kevin, Muntz
Months.
is?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, they're trying to steal the bird. Like, does it matter if it's you or someone else that be like, this bird is real? Either way, your reputation is better because the world knows.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
why are we so pressed? Like,
Also,
just
like,
because
what's your
someone else
plan?
does
To
it?
just come back? They're gonna still call you a fraud.
Like, listen, because they don't. Also, they don't care. It's been how
Yeah.
many years? 70. No one's thinking about this. No one's thinking about you.
Yeah. People forgot about you. You're a relic of history. They thought you died.
Listen, they assumed you're dead.
And nobody's come looking for you.
No,
Damn, that's sad.
you
No
know.
wonder he's horrid. He needs to go to
Listen.
therapy. Do
He
you think
has
he has a
dogs.
therapy dog? Uh, but yeah, so Doug's loyal to Kevin, because Kevin makes a noise, Muntz turns, and then Carl and Doug run, or Carl and Russell run. And I'm like, Carl got legs for days. He's like speeding off, and he's like 78. Like, come on, pop off, King. Um,
Carl's straight confuses me because one moment he can carry a house in what's his name?
right? I'm like, I can't carry a house, and I'm 29. You can't pick a house up like that. A house is heavy
What
as
are,
hell.
what are we doing?
Yeah, the laws of physics don't apply, I guess.
It's those balloons.
Yeah.
Makes it weigh nothing.
But they start getting this chase sequence getting going, and Doug is loyal to Carl, so
Hmm.
Alpha bites um Kevin's leg in this chase
Oh,
sequence. It's just like an action scene. Like there's a lot of like these like like again, this is a very sequential film. It goes in a smooth story. But like this action sequence, they're just like running away, and like there's like
yes.
shenanigans. Doug is on their side, falls into a cliff, but like on the edge. Russell's also swinging around on the hose because Carl's like flying the house, and Kevin's
Hmm.
like racing, and he's like, "Wow!" And then Alpha bites Kevin's leg, and they all fall into the ravine, I guess. Um,
The dogs.
yeah, the dogs do. And then Muntz has a tracker on Doug, and Doug is like, "Why did the squirrel put the acorn in the tree or something?" And the squirrel died. I don't remember the joke, but he's like, "The squirrel's dead." I was like, "Damn, what a dark joke."
Yeah, I meant to write that joke down. That was a wild joke. That
Yeah,
was an insane joke.
Doug is insane.
He is insane.
Yeah. Like imagine Doug and Dory have a conversation.
I don't think we can survive. I think
Yeah. Russell's sad and sits next to Carl, and he's like, "Yeah, so this reminds me of the stoop that on the curb that I said I like that curb. When my dad and I do our activities, then we go sit on the curb, and I get chocolate, and he gets butterscotch or butter brittle, whatever he said, ice cream, and we play this game where I count the red cars and he counts the blue cars, and whoever has the most wins at the end. And like." He says it's kind of boring, but like I like the boring stuff. And I feel like that's one of the themes of the movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
because and I think we can talk about it more later. That was
Okay.
the end of my sentence. We can talk
Yeah.
about it more later.
Okay. Yeah,
Later.
boring stuff. He's like, I think that's the things I remember the most, the boring games. And then they get attacked again, and Muntz lights the house on fire after catching Kevin in the net. And then Carl goes to rescue the house. The dogs grab Kevin, and Russell's upset with Carl. He's like, you let them take Kevin. And I'm like, well, yes, and maybe I did, but also I was protecting my house. Like, I feel like it was a little bit more nuanced than that. He wasn't like letting them take Kevin. He went to
Like
go
we're
protect his.
pretending like 5 seconds earlier he was not trying to free him with a knife before he set his house on fire.
Yeah,
Like,
but you know,
like no offense,
Russell's little boy.
I
How
just
old do you
met
think Russell
Kevin.
is? 12?
Uh, I'll give him 10,
10?
which
Yeah,
is not a big difference.
he has a little bit of more youthful. Maybe he's 8 or 9. Like he could be younger. I don't know.
Like he's not in an angsty stage that I think 12-year-olds
Yeah,
start to get into.
he's sweet and adorable and like maybe
Yeah.
naive.
Yes.
Um, my name is Russell. Um,
And I am a wilderness.
So yeah, Russell's upset, and then Carl ends up snapping at him and Doug. He's like, "I'm not your master. Go, bad dog." And then Doug is like, "I'm a bad dog."
Aw.
And then Carl is like, "I'm going to Paradise Falls if it kills me." And then he starts walking. This is where we get that sunrise shot that I mentioned earlier.
Mhm.
He gets there, um, and Russell's like, I don't want this anymore, the sash. And he like throws it on the ground. And then Carl takes it inside the house and he like fixes the house with everything that's knocked over from the storm, which I'm like, it's
Mhm.
crazy. You haven't been in the house since like the storm. You've been just walking around, but okay. Um,
No, fair enough.
and then he fixes everything. He adjusts the chairs, the
Mhm.
Carl and Ellie chairs, and he reads the book, and he we get the married life cue, musical cue again, um, and he's looking through, and then we get to the page that says stuff I'm going to do, and then he like has the page slightly up and he sees that there's more going on after it that Ellie's
Mhm.
added and she puts like in the scrapbook like the entire stuff that we see in the married life sequence. And then at the
Yeah.
end it says um thanks for the adventure. Now go have a new one. Love, Ellie. And I don't think he's ever caught that before because he's been stuck on those pages and like
Mhm.
that is something that like
Like,
rejuvenates him and heals his soul a little bit. He gets like
like
it's like when you discover a message on your answering machine that you never listened to that like oh you still have a piece of them that you didn't think you had.
yes, and I think I actually love this so much. Mainly because I think we have seen Carl just so obsessed with what they did not do, what they did not do, what they did not do. They didn't go to South America. They didn't go to Paradise Falls. She never got to have this grand adventure. But then, which I think is why that took him so long to look through it. He sees like, no, she did get to have her adventure. She did get to have her journey. And that was like the small moments, like similar to what Russell was saying. Like he values the small things, whether it was looking at the cars. She was like, yeah, us painting the mailbox together, us washing the things. Like that was my adventure, and I was so happy. Like I had a full life. I felt fulfilled. Like
Hmm.
and like Carl was just so obsessed with like this big thing, but it's like then I take time to appreciate like all the small things, all the wonderful years they've had together. Because it's clear, like at the start, like we as the audience got to appreciate it, but it's clear that he himself did not actually appreciate it until far too late.
When you're in the thick of like life moments and there's so much chaos, you're like so self-absorbed about what's going on in your world and like all the stresses and chaos in your life.
Hmm.
That like it's hard to appreciate the small moments, and that's kind of
Hmm.
like what Russell says that he likes the boring moments. That's kind of like what this is like, where he was so like trying to get his wife to Paradise Falls that he's like, look at the adventures we did have when we were together, and like that's like the core crux of the movie. And as I approach my 30s, I really want to like be appreciative of the small things. and like enjoy life to the fullest and maximize every moment. But like even if that moment is just like something of like me sitting in a chair and like listening to the sounds of the rain, like I want to appreciate that. And I feel like he's kind of like recognizing that like life still is out there, and he's spent the last indeterminated amount of time indeterminated moving on. He spent the
Indeterminate.
last amount of time that we have not established grieving and like stuck in a
Hmm.
rut. And obviously, like we're not trying to rush Carl's grief process because people grieve at their own pace, but
Hmm.
it's at this point where he recognizes that like life has continued to pass him by since Ellie's passing, and now he's like ready to take on the next adventure in life and be ready to go on the next chapter, and that his life continues and he can still have so much joy that he can discover, and like life's not over for him. And it's like sad because he wishes he could do it with his wife, but like he
Hmm.
can still move forward, put one foot in front of the other. And like that's kind of like grief is so difficult,
Hmm.
but it's also not the end,
Yes. And,
even
and I
though it can
think
feel like that.
I agree. I agree. It does feel like that, and I think Carl felt it strongly before the makers of the film that this was the end. With that being said, though, I do think it's very interesting because I think this entire journey to South America, Carl wanted to do this. We saw in the beginning of the movies, like him, he had his little hat and his little goggles and the adventurous whatever balloon and stuff like that. Like he had this desire for adventure, but like we really got throughout this entire thing, like. Carl's not doing this for himself. Carl's doing this for Ellie. Like Carl's carrying this burden that Ellie never wanted him to carry.
Mhm.
Carl's carrying all this weight that literal weight of a house that she did not want him to do. She wanted him to be happy. He wanted him to keep living and having fun moments. And I think this was the moment that Carl realized like all Ellie really wanted, not for this grand adventure. It was just for him to be happy. And I'm super happy that he finally learned that lesson.
T. Yeah. No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And it's like I think we even get like physical manifestations of his like separation from the grief to like what's left of his life and how he
Hmm.
moves forward. Like, because he's like Russell goes outside. He's like, I'm going to help Kevin, and he's flying off to do so. And then
Hmm.
Carl is like, well, I need to go save Russell, so I'm literally gonna clear my house out. These things that mean so much to me, I'm gonna throw them all out about representations of my life with Ellie,
Hmm.
and take the house to go save Russell, which is where his future is. At this point in time, he's like, I'm gonna protect this kid. I made a promise to this kid to protect this bird.
Hmm.
And he's like literally like throwing chair that he and Ellie
Hmm.
used to sit next to each other, and I felt like that one. And this is like also like the first tear scene. I cried two times in this movie. This is the first.
It was good. And,
Um,
and, and especially because I think I think part of the reason why Carl was so invested in this house was because it was his and Ellie's house.
mhm.
Like full stop 100%. But I think and I don't think like he needed to sell his house. Like he could have kept the house if he wanted to for similar reasons. That's fine. But I think he learned like he does not need his house to remember Ellie.
Mhm.
Like Ellie's like always going to live on through him and through what she done for him in his life and what he's going to bring to the world because of her. Because I think Ellie, as we saw as a kid, like Ellie opened up Carl to being the person he is today,
Yeah,
a more adventurous person, more open person. Like I don't know if Carl never met Ellie, if Carl would have even entertained Russell, right?
yeah,
Uh, Russell is so Ellie coded, like, and I think that's on purpose.
yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, you can see that her chair is rounded and Carl's is square, and
Mhm.
Russell was designed to look more round, right? So it's
Mhm.
like, oh, like he's like very like he reminds Carl of Ellie, like in the spirit of adventure and that like whimsy that Ellie had. Like if you
Mhm.
map Russell onto like young Ellie when we meet her in the first scene, like you can see that they're very energetic and whimsical
Yes.
and have wide imaginations and excitement. And um yeah, I really appreciated this, and I think this is like the other theme of the movie is represented in this stuff right here. And
Mhm.
um yeah, I know. I'm a big fan of this stuff here. Like this is the emotional core of the movie, which I think
Yes,
works the best. Like when this
I
movie
agree.
is about the symbols of like life and death and like adventure and happiness,
Mhm.
I think that's when the movie hits. The comedy hits a little bit, and we'll talk about this like with our rankings and stuff at the end. But like I feel like this is like the best part of the movie is like the Ellie
Mhm.
Carl journey.
Yes.
Russell, and then like there's also great stuff with like Kevin and Doug, but like, um, yeah. So speaking
So,
of,
but to get to seriousness, which is more wild, balloons carrying a house or Russell riding a leaf blower?
it reminds me of SpongeBob.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think that's more because like even as a kid, a leaf blower couldn't pick me up, but he has a couple balloons, right?
He has a couple
He
of
stole a
balloons.
couple balloons.
Fair.
Thief.
Thief.
Um,
Remy better not catch you.
Also, can we talk about the fact that they keep calling him Small Mailman?
That is
So
funny.
Russell goes to help Kevin, and then Doug is on the porch, and he's like, I'm sorry for being a bad dog, and he's like, you're a good dog. Come here, Doug.
Aw.
And then the dogs attack Russell. Kevin's in the cage. They keep calling him the small mailman, and then Muntz tries to throw Russell off the blimp. Like that is
That was
disgusting.
insane. That was,
Like besides Syndrome killing people, that might be the worst thing any villain's done. So we'll have to talk about Muntz in our villain rankings.
yes.
Um, like this man, he's the one who needs to be institutionalized by the court.
Agree 100%.
um, but the court doesn't know who he is.
You
So
know,
yeah. So Bunce tries to throw Ruckle out, and then Carl saves him by the nick of time. And then he's like, Russell, you stay in this house. And he's like, no, I want to help. And he's like, no, I want you safe. And then Carl and Doug sneak into the cage, and they're like, "What am I gonna do?" And then Doug is munching on the tennis ball, and he's like, he throws the ball, locks the dogs out, and they're like, "Oh!" And then they start yapping, and they get Kevin out of the cage, and Russell. Then he's like, "I'm gonna go back inside and help them," and then he almost falls out the house, and he grabs
off the
onto the
porch.
hose.
Hmm.
Yeah, and he's like another close call, but then he starts whacking the window of the blimp, and Charles Muntz is like, "Oh," he's like, "What the heck is happening
They
here?"
use that scene 100 times in commercials on Disney.
I remember that. Yeah,
Like,
it's that one, and then Doug talking. He's like, "Squirrel."
yeah.
I also love when like Carl and Doug are looking for like exit routes, and they're like, "Point to the vent." Um, But yeah, so the dogs start piloting the little planes, and I'm like, this is crazy. And then Russell's
So
like, hey,
cute.
dogs, a squirrel. And they're like, squirrel. And they crash into each other.
Crash each other.
And they're like, ugh, I don't like squirrels.
You know what,
um,
fair?
Muntz versus Carl in the museum, and he's like about to hit him with this old sword, and then Carl uses his walker, and he's like, and they have an old man fight, as I call it, because he's like, yeah, take your last bite or whatever he says, and then he like
Bits.
spits the dentures
Dentures.
out, and then they're like they both crack their backs during the fight, and they're like just having an old man battle. Um, Meanwhile, in the cockpit, the dogs are attacking Doug, and Doug puts the cone of shame on Alpha and breaks his fixed collar because they like fix his collar, and he sounds
Yes.
serious again, and then he sounds scratchy afterwards, and they're like, "You're the new Alpha," and he's like, "I am the new Alpha." Like,
Look at getting that
yeah.
respect he always wanted.
Exactly. And then Doug becomes the alpha, and Kevin and Carl are on the roof. Russell says the squirrels that we talked about. And then Muntz pops out with a gun. He starts shooting the balloons. And then Carl's like, get inside the house to Kevin, Doug, and Russell.
Like, we're going to talk about this in the villain rankings. The most bloodthirsty villain, at least. Yeah, like,
I
who
mean, him
wants
or
the best?
Syndrome. Yeah.
He's actively like shooting at a child.
No, he has, like, Waternoose will kidnap a million child to protect this company. Muntz will just kill children.
Don't even
Yeah.
have a company to protect. You have a company.
Just a fraudulent man.
Just a fraudulent man.
And then Carl isn't able to get in the house, but Muntz starts going in. He's gonna like shoot the kid up, and I was like, "Whoa!" Like then Carl's like, "Russell, grab onto Kevin. Do not let go." And then he's like, "Chocolate!" And Kevin goes breaks through the window. Doug and Russell are on it. And then Muntz chases after them, and his leg gets pulled by the balloon house, and he goes falling into the abyss. And Carl rescues Russell, Kevin, and Doug, and pulls them up. I was like, he got that old man strength.
Whoop, whoop.
He went from limping to action hero.
Yes, sir.
Um, so let's talk about Muntz dying. Like this is like the second like canonical Pixar death. I feel like after Syndrome, right? Nobody else has died,
Hopper.
right?
Not
Oh
Hopper.
yeah, Hopper. Hopper.
Oh,
He
yeah,
gets eaten
Hopper.
by the bird. Um, I know that Pete Docter said that like Muntz falling is kind of a representation of like Carl's old life dying.
Mm.
Like his old old self dying to be
Hmm.
reborn into saving Russell. And then also he's like saying goodbye to the house because the house, like they don't have access to it. They're on the blimp now. But this is also like where he saves Russell and Kevin and Doug, and this is like, oh my God, okay. Like he is taking care of other people in addition to himself. So he's like becoming selfless throughout the actions of the film.
Yes, 100%.
Um, but yeah, then they like fly back. They drop the Kevin babies, drop Kevin off with the Kevin babies. And he's like, "Where's my walker?" And then Kevin spits it out, and then the babies all spit out a tennis ball. And he's like, "You can keep that as a reminder of me." He says goodbye to the house, and then they fly the blimp home. The scoutmaster gives Russell the badge, and then he's like, "I'll take care of him, Carl." And he's like, "For service of helping and assisting the elderly, you are given the best honor of all, the Ellie badge." And he puts the little grape soda cap that he has on his lapel on the sash. And Russell's dad isn't there, so he's standing in for Russell's dad, but Russell's mom is there, like we talked about. And then they
Yes.
sit on the curb and they eat ice cream and count cars. It's like, Mr. Fredrickson, you're being silly. And that's the end of the movie.
Whoop whoop.
And again, I'm a puddle at this point. Like I'm crying. And the post-credit scene or the credits roll, and it's a scrapbook, which is like Carl and
Yeah.
Ellie, but they're doing Boy Scout activities. Were you ever a Boy Scout?
No.
Nope, me neither. And after watching this movie, my children are not allowed to do scouts because what if they end up in Paradise Falls with an old
Yeah.
man?
Give you a reason to go to Venezuela.
There's other reasons to go to Venezuela. But yeah, so they go off to Paradise Falls. Also, Brazil's right there at that point. I'm going to Brazil.
Fair.
Um, but yeah, so and I don't know if you caught this, but I love the Boy Scout activities that they're doing in the scrapbook is connected to the role of the person that they're like highlighting in the credits. So it's like, for
Mm.
example, the director of photography credit and director of lighting, they're in a photo booth, and it's like the little film reels. For the director of sound, it's them doing like the can
I
sound
did not
thing.
catch that.
That was super cool. It wasn't perfect for everyone, but it was like
Mm.
really, really cool, and I thought that was a cute little touch. And we also get like this song at the end of the credits that like is shoved down
Yes.
there, the Spirit of Adventure, which will be our musical cue to discuss in a bit. But that is Up. Uh, let's like talk about Up. Like, where do you want to like? What do you want to digest from Up as we talk about it? Like anything you wanna like say as we did it, or is this like better explored through the segments discussions?
Um, we can explore through the segment discussions. I just say I really enjoyed this watching this movie. It was a fun movie to watch.
I agree.
Um,
I really as well emphasize what you said there.
yes, but I think we can talk more about it through the
Hmm.
spreadsheets.
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, should we start with the songs?
We can start with the song since you teed it up.
Spirit of Adventure is the name of the song. AJ, where are you gonna put Spirit of Adventure?
Um, you did catch me off guard before the podcast saying we're gonna do this song. I was like, so you got to see my reaction listening to the music. Um, I liked it. I did like the song. It's not the most memorable song, but it like fits like the old timey vibe I was getting into. I was like, this fits the thing with Carl and Nelly and them. So I thought this was a I just saw what you did. So I'm gonna put this for me personally. When I was looking at my list, I would have it in my C tier above La Vie en Rose,
Okay, so it's the first of the C tier for you.
the first of the C tier.
That's
Like I
crazy to
think
me.
it was such a fun song. It was sweet. It was
It's
nice.
a fun song, but like for me, there's no plot relevancy. It's like related to the movie in its sense, but they shove this at the bottom of the credits. It's not even the credit song. It's like at the bottom of the credits that you don't even catch it because Disney
Because
Plus will jump to it.
like I
Um,
said, I didn't even know there was a song
yeah,
here until you told me.
and like it fits the themes of the movie, but like it's unmemorable. And then you listen to it, it's like not the the best song, the most memorable song. Like objectively, like there's a part of me that wants to put it in D tier, but like I feel like I should put something in F tier at some point. So I'll put Spirit of Adventure there. But no shade to Carl, and no shade to this movie, but like this is like of the segments, like it's gonna be the lowest for sure.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But yeah, like where do you want to go next? Villains or MVP?
Let's go to MVP.
MVP. Cool, 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 cool. AJ, where do you want to start? You can pick.
Let's start with the PT flew back at us because this is the
Oh, your
easiest one.
favorite category. Yes. Who are you
Yes.
going for here?
We gotta go to the 98-year-old fuddy duddy disgrace, Mr. Months. Like
Awesome, Mr. Muntz.
Mr. Months. He sucks. He was bad at this. Like he was so hostile, not hostile. He was so welcoming to Carl and Russell. And in the moment he was like, "Oh, you know where the bird is?" He took a 180, like was like hunting them down with dogs, shooting them, try to push them out of planes, try to cut them with swords. I'm like, "Sir, it's not that serious. You're fine. You're famous. Well, you're at least 98. Like, do better things with your time than try to kill these two."
Yes,
But
so Charles Muntz gets your point. Just to not dunk on the obvious choice, I'm gonna give it to the calling him the
fair.
construction suit in my notes, but like the guy in the suit who's on the phone who's like sees Carl whack the a walker on the guy's head and uses it as an opportunity to get him kicked out of his house so that they can like bulldoze his house. So like, what would you call him? Like the redeveloper, the developer,
Yeah, I'll say the developer.
construction developer. I put gentrifier here as well.
That's fair.
Construction
Yeah, he
developer.
did suck.
So yeah, so I'll just to spice it up,
No, I
for the
think that's a
PT
valid
Fleabag
one.
of Dusk. Do you want to do comedy or MVP first or spotlight?
Let's do comedy. I'll let you go first.
Okay. Um, for comedy, it's basically Doug or Russell, right? So I feel like
Hmm.
either I'm gonna do one and we're gonna double down, or you're gonna give the other person that. Probably, if I had to guess, I'm gonna give it to. I think I'm gonna give it to Doug here. I think I'm gonna give it to Doug, but it's really close. I feel like Russell had a lot of like laugh out loud moments and like kind of just like the
Hmm.
awkwardness of like when he's on the house. I mean, Carl's also funny as hell. So like,
Yes.
so I think I'm gonna give it to Doug though. What about you?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I was like so annoyed that I told you to go first because I did not want you to pick Russell because I wanted to pick Russell.
Okay, you can pick Russell
Like
too.
I was like, why did I give it to Felipe? I love Russell. I love that kid so much. That kid, like truly, the heart of this film. He was so fun. Like even when he wasn't being fun, like his openness for the world and the idea for adventure, despite the fact he never been camping, that he does not like walking. Like, like I was like, this kid is so relatable and funny and goofy and like he's all the best part of being a young kid, and I loved it.
Yeah. No, and like he's definitely on my short list for MVP spotlight of the film. But like I would love you to go first here so I can like make my choice after.
So here's the truth. Like, had you picked Russell for comedy, I would have picked Russell for the spotlight. But since you didn't, like, I'm down to two. I'm down to Carl. I think Carl it has such a great growth adventure throughout this thing. Um, Dealing with grief. I think it was like such a great story. I'm also considering Ellie, even
I,
though
I I didn't know if that was gonna be
I'm also
like I was like, oh, Ellie could be like an interesting character to give this to because like she's such a key part to this journey and she's the one who kind of
Mhm.
pushes him. But like she wasn't in my notes, but I was like as we were talking, I was like, oh, I might give it to Ellie, but I don't know. Like so, I'll let you go first, still,
Yeah,
regardless.
yeah, because I was thinking of Ellie because I don't because she is so focal to this entire movie. Like she's the one who pushes Carl to like do something new. She's the one who pushes Carl to come out of his shell. Like Ellie is the person who like pushes Carl to live life and to be happy and be joyous. And I love people like that, even though like we didn't get to spend much time with her because of her early death. I still think she left such a big impact on
Mhm.
this movie. I'll give it to Ellie.
Give it to
I
Ellie.
I'll give it to Ellie.
Yes. So Ellie Fredrickson gets AJ's point. And I think I'm gonna give it to Carl just to like put him there because like he
Mhm.
does do the growing and he is able to find himself again. Um, when you
Yes.
find yourself, as Brad Paisley once said, saying in Cars. But yeah, no, I think Carl and like Russell, of course, is like on the short list here because he like
Mhm.
pushes a lot of the change. But like I think Carl's willingness to engage in the growth is very important, and like the fact that he like rescues Russell and
Mhm.
Kevin and Doug, and like I don't know, like this, like he like also has to confront the fact that his like childhood hero sucks. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm gonna give it to Carl Fredrickson, and then is it Frederickson or Fredrickson?
I think it's Frederick. No, it's Frederick.
Fredrickson,
Frederick.
and then you're giving it to. Do you think she changed her last name?
Um,
I'll just say
sure.
Ellie for her.
You can say Ellie for her.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's gonna be our MVP, LVP, PT Fleabag of Dust. And let's go to villains.
Let's go to
Are we
villains.
gonna include Alpha, Beta, Gamma, and the dogs, or just Charles Muntz?
I think just Charles Muntz, like they are the equivalent of the robots from Wally.
Valid, because I was like, they could also be like discussed in sort of like a mirage, sort of like assistants. But like, I
Mm,
like what you said. They're kind of like also controlled by him, right? So he's
Yeah,
like all his actions, like they're not really autonomous, are they? Well, Doug is. No, I think they're autonomous, but
I
I don't think we need them in the
that's fair.
rankings. And if we did, I feel like it would only be Alpha, Beta, and Gamma. Like all the other dogs are just kind of like background characters.
Basically.
Yeah. I'll let you go first with this discussion of Charles Muntz.
Charles Must is such a hard one for me because I'm be honest with you, Felipe. For most of the movie, I was like, "This is a D tier villain," like partially because he's not in most of the movie. Um, but then when he came in, I was like, "Oh, this is gross. This is like gross, disgusting human acts that you are doing. You are acting very unhinged. Like this is not okay." And and I think that has to put me bump him up a little bit. But I feel like. I push for everyone who's listening to listen to our Patreon podcast
Hmm.
that we're about to release soon or we have released already because
No, it'll probably be right after this one.
right after this, okay, then because I think I'm gonna make some serious change to my villain tier list because Charles just isn't that memorable of a villain to me though. Like that's the thing. Like he
Yeah.
does disgusting stuff, but he's like so irrelevant to the plot for the most part.
Yeah, it's like villain wise, he's like on the high end of like villainous actions, but like
Yes.
memorability, he's like on the lower end. So it's like
Yeah.
where do you like split the difference is kind of like what I'm thinking for myself. And like I'm struggling myself here. And like I feel like we're gonna like fully restructure these rankings
Hmm.
and have like a much deeper conversation about these spreadsheets in the Patreon episode that we're gonna release. But so like between this and Toy Story 3, people who aren't patrons might come back and be like, what the hell happened here?
What happened?
Like, why is Anton Ego the number one villain for both of them all of a sudden? But like, do you want me to go first? I think I know where I'm gonna
I
put
I
him.
I think I know where I'm gonna put him too. Like I'm looking at like Dentist Sherman, like area, Chick Hicks, like around that area for him because he
Hmm.
sucks. I just don't want to put him too high because I don't like him that much. So just because I do not like him, I will put him like above Al, below Chick
About
Hicks,
above Al, below Chick Hicks. Okay,
in C
cool.
tier.
C tier for you. Okay, for me, he's gonna be a little higher.
Mhm.
With all due respect, I think I'm gonna put him above the Prospector for now, and then we can reevaluate.
Whoa! Tell
I
him where you have Prospector.
I have Prospector as A tier for me. But like he's such a disgusting deplorable. Like if
He
I was like
is.
Syndrome for me like was lower than Hopper and Water News originally, and then I talked myself Syndrome being like, no, he does like legitimately deplorable things. Like there's a part of me that wants to put him above Water News, but I'm like, this is not an S tier villain. He's so unmemorable, other than the fact that like he's like the hero that like I don't know. I don't know.
Like
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 it's hard, and like we'll probably restructure this whole spreadsheet when we
we're
get
going
to
to
the Patreon
restructure it. We're, we're,
podcast.
we're going to do
But
some.
like Charles Muntz tries to shoot a kid, drop him out of a blimp. Like he has no respect for like anyone
Mhm.
else, but himself. Like he doesn't care about anyone, and like at the other end of the spectrum, like we get some of these like deplorable villains like Hopper and Syndrome.
Yes.
Like Waternoose goes to jail, and he said like he'll kidnap children, but like Charles will kill the children.
Yes.
And so I don't know, like he's not memorable. Like Prospector and Randall both like in my heart want to be higher than him. Sid and Chef Skinner also, but like I feel like I have to put him high because he's deplorable. If like for me, like I think
Mhm.
Syndrome's like a memorable villain for sure and like a horrible human, but like if we're doing like Syndrome's at the top because of how many kids he like people he kills, then I have
Mhm.
to put Charles Muntz high too. And
I get
we'll
that too.
discuss more later, but like technically this puts Charles Muntz in my Mount Rushmore, and I don't know if I like that. So we'll definitely have to rediscuss on the
Like,
Patreon episode.
when it comes to deplorability, he's like top two.
Yeah. But like he's not memorable enough. So that's where I
Yeah.
struggle here. Like cuz I think Prospector is definitely more memorable than Charles Muntz, but like
Hmm.
I don't know. We'll noodle on this and talk about it in the Patreon pod.
We'll do it on it.
This is a flexible document.
It's a living document.
Speaking of flexible documents, we have to make our decisions on where this movie is going to stand in terms of our rankings, and this has been difficult for me. Like I have kind of like a range of where it's going to be, but I don't have a full defined answer yet, and I don't know if you do
I
yourself.
don't have a defined answer, but I feel like I'm more know where I'm putting it
Like there's
than
like
you do.
two or three movies that I'm like, oh, this is in that kind of area, for me.
Mhm.
But I'm still struggling and like teetering and tottering between these numbers.
I'll talk my talk, and
Yeah, speak your
I feel
speak your ish.
here's the issue with Up, right? Up is the third movie that I've watched that I've been able to get through in one sitting. Um,
What were the other
like
two? Finding Nemo,
no, it
Incredibles.
was Incredibles and Toy Story.
Okay.
Like those were the movies I was like Finding Nemo. I didn't get through it, but like Finding Nemo was just such a good movie. Um,
It's also like when you watch it, how much time do you have when you're like trying to
fair.
cram in some homework before?
Fair enough. I think that's more than valid. But like with that being said, like I think sure there's like slow parts and like low parts that I have critiqued. You've heard my critiques. I still think overall like this is such a good movie. In my opinion, I think this movie has hit me the most. Um, and it might just be where I am in my life or what I value currently. So I think this movie has like hit me the most emotionally too. So that's why I think I have this like really high. Like this is a top tier movie for me. Full stop. Um, I would have it personally. Like, and I think it's wild because I think Toy Story is a good movie. I think Incredibles is a more fun movie. I think this is like the least fun of those three. Uh, uh, but with that being said, I think this is like a better story than the Incredibles. Uh, Toy Story, I think Toy Story could be better story than this, but I, I know what I just said. I know what I just said, but Mm. You hear the range I'm doing that. You put your things in, I will give you my
All
final answer.
right. So what I'm hearing is that this is definitely better than Bug's Life.
It's not that hard. It's not
Yeah.
that it's not that hard.
So I'm gonna put Bug's Life at 10. So for me, like this is kind of like in the Incredibles Monsters Inc.
Hmm.
area. Like I feel like there's a part of me that wants to say this is better than Monsters Inc. And like there's like the bias of like I love Monsters Inc. more just because it like was a childhood fave.
Hmm.
But I feel like this is definitely a better movie than Monsters Inc. So like that's where I'm struggling. And then for me it's like, is this better than The Incredibles or not? And I actually almost like turned on The Incredibles Friday night to like rewatch to like kind of make this decision. And I
Hmm.
was like struggling with it. I was like, I don't know. Like they're different. And I think Incredibles is more propulsive. But I think this movie, like, maybe it's just like I'm gonna give the bias to the cry count, but like I think I'm gonna put this above Incredibles 2. Sorry,
Hmm.
The Incredibles as well. Because we haven't talked about Incredibles 2 yet. But yeah, it's like really like close. Up and Incredibles for me are like fighting back and forth. And I think I'm just
Hmm.
gonna give it to Up for now. And again, we're open to recalibrating, but for me, this didn't crack the Wally. Like this did not crack Wally. I think Wally is better than this for me. And so I'm gonna put it at number 5 because I'm struggling to uh do anything else here. So we're just gonna move some things down in my ranking. So with that, I adjusted my numbers in the spreadsheet. I'm assuming so like AJ, I'll just like hit you. Better than Cars,
I,
right?
I think I know where I'm putting it.
Okay.
I think I'm putting number three.
Number 3. Okay,
Number
so
three.
this is gonna bump Toy Story down.
Bump Toy Story down. Yeah.
Okay, but keep Incredibles at 2.
Keep Incredibles at two.
Okay, so we're gonna get some new numbers, but speak on it while you do that.
Like here's my thing. I think well, it's funny that you were like divisive between Up and The Incredibles, and I was like, well, same. I think similar thing, but I just value Incredibles more than you did. Not saying you don't value Incredibles. Um, but I just think Incredibles is like such a more fun movie. I think it's like so much like easier to digest. If that makes sense. Like you got the fast-paced beats, like you're not really sitting in a lot. You're
Hmm.
not like whereas in Up, there's like a lot of moments where you're just sitting. And I enjoy those city moments. Like enjoy the moments of like this is just a slice of life. We're just talking. We're just taking in the scenery. Um, which made me put this more like is this better or worse than Toy Story? And I think I am more quickly to watch Toy Story than I am to Up, but I do like the story of Up more than I like the story of Toy Story personally.
Hmm. Interesting. So we got some shakeups.
Talk about the shakeups.
I think Toy Story is funnier though.
It is funnier.
Um,
It is 100% funnier.
all right. So now in 10th place we got Bugs Life. In ninth place we got Cars. In eighth place with Ratatouille. Seventh place Monsters Inc. And these all have the same average as their rank. At sixth, Wally has 6 points with an average. Sorry, 5 points. So it's slightly above because we have a split score on Wally.
Mhm.
Then we have a tie for fourth place. Incredibles and Up are now tied for fourth place with an average score of 4 apiece. I gave Incredibles 6 and you gave it a 2. And Up has a 5 and you get a 3. So they're both tied at 4. Toy Story and Toy Story 2 are still at 3.5, so they're tied for second,
Mhm.
and Finding Nemo at first. So that's where we are ranking wise. Up is now in your Mount Rushmore, knocking out Toy
Yes.
Story 2. So I'm going to adjust that. But yeah, we have some differences now with only Finding Nemo and Toy Story cracking both of our Mount Rushmores. And I like the diversity in our list because, like, clearly I loved Wally more than you did, and you loved Up more than I did. And I
Yeah.
think both films are fun, and they're kind of like the first films that we're in this new era, right?
Mhm.
Of like Pixar. We're in the second phase right now, as I'm calling it, where like they're not the most familiar for us, but like we're willing to let our adult perspectives
Mhm.
reshape our Pixar opinions.
Mhm.
Versus like if you asked me ahead of time, I would have been like, no, Monsters Inc. is a top four, Incredibles is top four, and I'm like, no, like I'm gonna give like these are objectively better movies, and like I have new love for Wally and Up that I previously didn't
Mhm.
have. Um, but yeah, so that's where we stand with Up, and I like these little shakeups, and it's like, oh, like it's Wally and Russell representing the new era of Pixar. Yeah.
Like
Um,
I love that we have like the same bottom three and four. We have the same number one, and in the middle is a
yeah.
fight. It's
Yeah,
a
and it's even like
fight.
I there was a world where I put Monsters Inc. above Up, but I was like, no, I think objectively, like Up is a better movie,
Mhm.
even though I love Monsters Inc. Like I might love Monsters Inc. more, but like we're going on different ratings.
Like like I love Cars, and I still have it at ninth out of 10.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, I'll say this. I even love Bugs Life for what it is.
You know,
I like Bugs Life.
it has
I
its
like
moments.
Cars. I like Ratatouille. I feel
Like
like I
the rest
mean
of the
like
movie on here, I will say I dislike. I don't like
yeah,
dislike
no,
any of the
I'm
movies.
like all these movies for me are at least three and a half stars out of five.
Now, when we get to Cars 2, that might change, but
Yeah, AJ's gonna give it a 7 out of 5.
know.
But we still got one more movie before Cars 2. Anything else you want to talk about Up before we transition to our
like I think Love Up. I think this was a very emotional movie for me, like highs and lows. I think I really liked it.
yeah,
I think also part of it is like I saw myself a lot in like the characters of Carl and Russell. Um,
because you're
and
a
I
grumpy old man.
basically but but the idea of like um being confined and but wanting to like you even saw this as a kid, him as a kid, like him being confined but wanting to like break out and be more outgoing, go out for more adventures and stuff like that. And he needed a catalyst in Ellie that like was able to break him through. But as soon as that catalyst was gone, you see him go back to his shell
Mhm.
of who he was. And like him finding like the strength to do this alone. Uh like I remember there was like a time period not too long ago. I was like, me go out by myself, what do you mean? That's insane. And I was like, ugh. And I
Yeah,
was like, no, just be comfortable, be happy with yourself. Like just like you don't have to live the most glamorous life. Just live a life that makes you happy. And I like felt that with Carl and also like Russell. I just love that little kid.
he's such a goober. I love him. No, we didn't even talk much about like the disillusionment of like finding something that you fall in love with when you're a
Mm,
kid or like something that you have such admiration and love for, and then like the disillusionment when you
mhm.
actually encounter the reality of the situation. Like in this instance, it's like Charles Muntz being his childhood
Yes.
hero, but like you aspire to work at a company and then you see how the sausage gets made is a common trope in this
Hmm.
like sort of like similar vein. And I think like um appreciating your life for what it is and not comparing your life based on like status and
Hmm.
standards of things that you aspire to be, aspire to be a part of, respect, like, because then you see the real thing and it's like, oh, like it doesn't amount to the expectations you had put it prior. The messaging this film has about grief and life
Hmm.
and what you can do with your life and how you can maximize it and just like embrace everything that it has to offer, the adventure and the possibility, I think is really amazing. And I really love messages from Pixar and like what they're trying
Hmm.
to say. Like, I love a Pixar movie with a theme, and I think they all have a theme at the end of the day. But this theme is very human, and this is like the first fully focused, no, second fully focused human movie after Incredibles. Like Ratatouille has a
Mm.
lot of humans as well, but I feel like the focus is more on the rats.
Yeah.
But like there's there's like a lot of empathy made in this film, and like even through Doctor's original inspiration for the film, where it's like life gets too hard and you just like want to zoom off into the clouds and just like
Hmm.
escape. Like I think sometimes this movie is like you have to like reckon with the like difficulties of life, and it's not easy, but there's so much to appreciate. And I
Hmm.
think I love the like metaphor that like once you get through the mountain of difficulty, life can be so incredible. Like anytime you're going
Hmm.
through like a rough period, when the skies start to open up and the clouds start parting and
Yeah.
you're like enjoying life again, life can be so fun and
Yes.
so joyous. And like I've recently experienced some of that myself, and it's just like yeah, like the clouds part, the train hits the end of the tunnel, and that's what happened with Carl here. He got through like the difficulty of grief, and on the other side of that journey is like this new adventure with this kid
Yeah.
that he's gonna be like a grandpa figure towards. And
Yes.
I also appreciate the fact that like how Russell has like a healthy adult male mentor in his life.
Yes.
If his dad is gonna be not the best dad, but
Mm.
maybe Up 2 is gonna be about Russell's dad.
Maybe.
But
Maybe.
also, I'm at peace if Wally and Up never have sequels and Ratatouille. Like, I think Pixar, like, if they want to double down on like their IP and like build franchise, and also the franchise in terms of sequels and trilogies, get to allow them to expand in Disney parks and Disney cruises.
Mm.
But I also think there's some beauty in like having some self-contained stories that don't need sequels.
Yeah, I don't think every story needs a sequel. Like if Love does not have a sequel, I think I'm okay and happy with that.
Yeah.
Wally, I think would be a bad idea if they have a sequel to Wally.
Well, we say
Um,
that, but sometimes the sequels exceed like Inside Out
so
2. I
like
was like,
some
we do not need this. And like, granted, it doesn't hit the highs of Inside Out 1, in my opinion, but like
mm.
Toy Story 3, Toy Story 2, great sequels.
we talked about D23 announcement, and the
Yeah.
thing I was most excited for was the two films that did not have sequels.
Ghost
Like,
Market and
okay, the one
Gata.
thing I was excited for was the thing that did not have a sequel.
No, Ghost Market and Gata. They were both.
Okay.
There's two. No, but
Yeah,
like
but
even like we'll talk about like 2020's Disney Pixar stuff soon. Like eventually we'll get there. Like you know how many times I've said I can't wait for AJ to watch Hoppers, Elemental, I love, Luca, Soul, Onward,
mm,
Turning Red. My least favorite of the 2020's Pixar is a franchise film in Lightyear. So,
hmm.
like, we don't need IP for
You
everything.
don't.
Like I understand like the draw and the stories, but like if you're gonna hit the stories, I need it to like be worth telling. And I do
I
think
agree.
Inside Out 2 and Toy Story 5 were worthy inclusions in the franchises, but it's also unnecessary at the same time. But like we move, just like
We
life
move.
moves, these stories continue. So, but Up and Elemental, we have not talked about that yet. Up and Wally, I feel like happy to leave them self-contained. Ratatouille
Hmm.
as well. But with all that said, AJ, anything you want to say about Up, or should we start pivoting to our first of the trilogy?
Let's
Our
pivot,
third
baby.
film and Toy Story 3 is up next. I remember when I watched Toy Story 3, talking about tears. I rewatched this recently for the podcast I did with Will and Navi. Go listen to that if you haven't yet. But I cried. I will be crying again. I have lots of takes. Again, this is the most chilling horror movie about corporate America, and we can discuss it more. We're gonna get like an incredible villain. I cannot wait to discuss Lotso Huggenbear. And Toy Story 3, we're gonna reunite with our friends Woody and Buzz, Jesse, the gang, Mr. Potato Head, Slinky, the aliens, Mrs. Potato Head, your girl. Barbie's in this movie, and we get some iconic Barbie lines. But yeah, I'm just so excited for Toy Story 3 in this journey. I feel like we'll have a lot to say about it. It could be contender for top spot for me personally. We'll definitely like talk about like the Flanderization of Buzz and the journey that Buzz as a character starts to go on in these next couple films with the Toy Story franchise. But enough about my takes. What are you excited about with Toy Story 3? What are you looking forward to? What are you worried about? What are you optimistic about? Give us your thoughts.
Worried about. I think Buzz. I think that's the clear thing. Because I remember watching Toy Story 2. I was like watching it, and I remember saying this on the podcast. Like they did not know what to do with Buzz. Like they were, and now that we're having number three, like I'm like, did they figure that out? And the fact that you said flanderization, that makes me worry. Like no, they did not figure it out.
Yeah. Well, we get
But
Spanish Buzz in this one.
with that being said, though, I know there's like a lot of people that says, uh, Toy Story 3 is their favorite Pixar movie, full stop. The fact that Toy Story 3 is one of two Pixar films that has been nominated for what was it, an
Best
Oscar for
Picture
best picture. Like, so that tells me like because I've only seen this movie once. Like
in theaters.
No, not even at
No.
theaters. It was at sleepover. So this will be my second time watching it.
Okay.
So I'm very intrigued to see. So like I don't have this long memory. Like I remember the end, like the final scene with Andy. But I don't remember much else of the
Yeah.
film. So I'm super excited to like almost for the first time watching this movie, especially considering it's a movie that a lot of people have in high regards.
That's
Like I am prepared to like, and I think you saw this with Up. I'm not afraid to like put high movies high. So I'm prepared. This movie I'm not really familiar with to like be near the top of my list.
this movie is either gonna like exceed your expectations or underwhelm you in a way that like because the key to happiness is expectation of life.
Mm,
And so like I'm very excited because like we've been on this journey with like Wally and Up recently, right? So it's
mm,
like I had these movies I wasn't super familiar with, like I'd seen and enjoyed, but like didn't remember much. And like I feel like that might be we're in the inverse now, where it's like okay, back to Felipe has the edge on Toy Story 3, and
mm.
AJ is gonna catch up. But like we've been on the other foot for a couple movies recently with like
Yes.
Cars, and so I'm excited to like A, be back in the driver's seat, but B, I'm kidding. But B, like I'm really excited to talk about Toy Story 3, and like I feel like we're gonna unpack a lot of feelings that I personally have watching this
Mm.
movie. I remember like watching the movie and I was like, this is like a horror movie. Like
Ooh.
this is like, and also I think Toy Story 3, it's the third in the film, but if you have never seen a Toy Story, I think you can understand everything going on in this movie without having watched the previous two. I think
Mm.
that's like how good it is. Like the fact that Toy Story 3 is nominated for Best Picture stands really powerfully amongst the others, and like I cannot wait to discuss. And then after that, we got Cars. But this is not going to be the end of our Pixar podcast journey. And the next episode patrons will get to hear is going to be about our spreadsheet discussion, general Pixar musings, more discussion about D23. We'll also probably talk about like Marvel stuff in there too for funsies. So go subscribe on Brazilian Dragon Productions, patreon.com. You can also subscribe to my Substack for more premium content over there, and I'll post up patron content in the Substack as well. But AJ, what else can people hear you on these days?
Before that, please, yo, leave us 5 stars in a review. We would love that. We love
Yes,
that energy.
and AJ on the Patreon podcast and the Toy Story 3 projects. We can come up, we can read some reviews if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, AJ, where else can people keep up with you?
Mainly, you can find me on the Free Agents podcast, Millennial TV, where me and the great Matt Lagori are talking about Drake and Josh.
Yes, and I know someone who's very excited about D23 stuff over there, Mr. Ligori. And yeah, you can also probably catch AJ on some different Big Brother stuff on RHAP throughout the season, Kamu Butt. But yeah, so in terms of me, you can, yeah, like AJ said, like, rate, subscribe on all podcast platforms. We have a YouTube if you want to watch the visual episodes. AJ and I, we got dressed up fancy. I got my Mickey Mouse shirt on for you all, Mickey Mouse in Japan. This is from Epcot.
Yeah.
So go like, subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend to tell a friend. Instagram, Brazilian Dragon, the Brazilian Dragon. We post all episode content there. I'm producing a stand-up show for my friend Tangela in the
Woo.
fall. More information on that. You can also follow our Blue Sky Time Rewind, which gets me into our promotion for Camp Rock 3, myself and the great TikTok Nicole, or as Ari Ferrari called her recently, Miss Knickknack.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, we're gonna do Camp Rock 3 and Ari Ferrari. Speaking of patron content, we are gonna finally release our Brant Steele Hunger Games simulation. 48 winners of American Survivor. We're gonna simulate. My winner pick is Savannah Louie, and you can hear more about that on the patron podcast feed for Brazilian Dragon Productions. All of our episodes go into the old Brazilian Dragon feed if you want to subscribe on there as well. But please, if you don't do anything else with this podcast, go to Animation Station and Slime Time Rewind, 5-star rating and reviews. With all that said, AJ, we
yes.
are going to leave Paradise Falls and make our way over to Sunnyside Daycare. And until next time, everybody, obrigado for listening. Goodbye.